welcome to Infamous, the audio podcast. This is Brandon, or Mulus on the forum.
This is Parker. Go by Dr. Mantis Toboggan MD on forums.
This is Jeremy. Hashtag update all my cards. Not just some. All my cards. Exclamation point. Exclamation point.
I just assumed you changed your forum handle to your TikTok name.
So you're
Your
following
TikTok
me.
name's
Are you following me, Brandon?
I don't know. I don't have TikTok.
I've got some good dances. I want
I
you to
assume
see.
your TikTok is just you filming your own face trying to log into TikTok.
Yep.
The underside of your nose and chin.
Yeah. Why isn't this letting me in? I'm very annoyed. I want to see all those cat videos. All right. So today, quick announcement. Parker's down to 231 episodes of probation.
Whoop whoop.
Does he keep saying Blade?
Nope.
Or if he says the unnamed and therefore is a surprise trap word. There is a trap word that me and Jeremy have agreed upon in advance.
Mm-hmm.
If Parker says it, that's 10 more probationary episodes.
Correct. He knows better. He better not say it.
Yeah, don't
But
say
I-
it.
Better not
It's
fucking
a
say
surprise. So.
Oh! All right, that wasn't it. You're lucky. That was close. You were very close to the right word.
This reminds me of that episode of Futurama where Bender gets a bomb put in him, and the professor,
and he's like-
the professor can't defuse it and take it out, so he just changes the bomb password to a word that Bender never says, and so Bender goes, "A word I never say, huh? What is it? Hello? Nice to see you." He goes, "Stop trying to guess the bomb explosion code." He goes, "Thank you. Bad case of the Mondays? Antiquing? Boom! It explodes." Antiquing.
So yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do it. That's bad for everybody.
Yeah.
It is a word that I know you have said in front of me before, but I don't think you've said on the podcast yet.
Oh, jeez. Okay, good grief.
That was it. All right, G's.
It's not jeez.
It's not G's. All right. So moving on, we have some exciting brand new news to news you for news. Parker.
News.
News.
So, finally, our drought is over with old news, actually. We know that some of the cards are being changed for basically type size to help also with color blindness and to be able to fit things in multiple languages. And while they were fixing that, they decided to go ahead and update and give facelifts to some of the cards that needed some TLC. And we had heard in the stream that Captain America was getting a new card, and we knew some of the things he was getting, but now we have confirmation and we have cards. So Captain America is getting a few things. First off,
hold on.
Oh.
We already knew all these, and the cards already been spoiled.
right. Wait, no.
This one, they just gave us an explanation as to why they made the changes.
Well, one of the cards we did not get spoiled at all.
It's just the Steve Rogers card, because it sounded like you were
Right.
about to read the Steve Rogers.
Oh, no.
Okay, go ahead.
I was
Sorry.
just gonna summarize quickly the changes. I wasn't gonna read the whole card.
Go for it.
So to recap, he was able to move size 3 things instead of size 2 with all of his movement tech. He has increased dice, so he went from 4 to 5. He has a little bit more of a punch on his strike, and his shield throw also has 5. What?
Only the shield throw went up. His strike was always.
Oh,
5.
strike was always 5? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The shield throw went up, and it also gives him a power. It didn't do that before.
Yes,
So,
that's correct.
otherwise, he remains unchanged, but that's how they changed him.
I'm pretty sure they cleaned up the wording on his leadership, but its
Yes.
functionality is the same.
Right. We talked a lot about these changes before. Anything you guys have thought of since we last heard of Captain America?
No, I like that he has actual super strength. Like, he can actually move things greater than himself, because,
Uh-huh.
blah, blah, blah. This is, I guess, as good a place as any to yell about this. I am very upset. I had to play a game against Shuri last night, and it was so horrible. How is Shuri okay for this game? I don't understand.
Wait, what is that?
She never has been.
Draw me a parallel here. What are we talking about?
So
Cap
let's
and
look at
Shuri?
this. This is a 4-point model, and they wanted to increase his ability to affect the scenario game. So they let him push on a wild on his 2 range strike, and throw on up to size 3 on his range 2 shield slam.
Yeah.
And so Shuri has a range 5 auto push up to size 3 was their idea of balanced.
Yeah.
That also gives her power and his energy and roll 6 dice. And it's, oh my god, it's so stupid. Shuri affects the game more than any other model for 3 points. It's so stupid.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like, I was sitting there, I was playing Carnage and Lizard. And so 7 points of models, and she basically just invalidates them. Like, they just don't exist in the game, because they can't ever do anything meaningful, because they're always out of position. It was incredibly frustrating.
Yeah.
It's just, most people around our area don't play her, because I don't know if the truce is back on or what, but...
Yeah, I think it's mostly
Basically,
just,
she's not that interesting.
yeah.
She does her thing. It annoys people, and it's fucking
winning
horrible.
games for free is not that interesting, I agree.
There's nothing at stake. What's at fucking stake, man? Like,
Exactly.
okay, I played Shuri and I won a game. I feel like that is the equivalent of the world's grand champion arm wrestler wrestling just some big dude. Like,
Mhm.
if you lose and you're playing Shuri, that's your fucking fault. Like,
I
that's
feel
how I
like-
feel.
I feel like playing Shuri is like those Russian slap competitions where they just slap the fuck out of each other and like people get like knocked unconscious. And it's like that one big dude is like the guy playing Shuri. It's like, yeah, your opponent is not going to have a good time and you're going to win. So, like
Yeah.
what are you getting out of this? Do you just like injuring people's emotions? Like, what is wrong with you? He's like, I just like slapping people in the face. You're like, okay.
Also, I feel the fact that we've already have it spoiled how she's going to change and how she's changing not in any way to remotely remove
No way
her-
meaningful, yeah.
It, like her negative play like I do not like that she's an NPE. Like she's just the best controller probably and for her points and the best support probably for her points in the game, period. And you're just like, "Oh, so how is my opponent ever going to enjoy a game against Shuri? How is my opponent ever going to feel like he has something to do? Like, oh, I got the thing that Shuri can't deal with."
I have an example for this. So I'm playing Carnage, and she shoots me from range 5, but I was within range 4 of her when she shot me, and so I can't even play the Carnage card, Carnage Rules, to advance her towards me and attack her at range 3 because I'm literally not close enough.
Yeah.
It's fucking dumb.
Right. Like, so it's exactly like Sabretooth or She-Hulk when they are damaged. You can like move towards her. But by the way, you're not gaining space. You're just moving back to the space you were at before.
Potentially.
Which is
because she has to actually damage you to trigger that.
right. I picked Sabretooth once going into her thinking, okay, Sabretooth's really good against Shuri, and I lined up right across from him. He just never did any damage to Sabretooth, and Sabretooth never did anything in the game.
Yeah. No, I pushed Wolverine literally to the corner of the table. He was touching 2 board edge with his base.
Yeah.
Because I had Shuri, and I was like, well, this is fair. Like, what the fuck is the point of this?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super dumb. There's no justification for it being range 5. There's no justification for it being without a dice effect or damage required. It's just so dumb. I just wish it wasn't part of the game. Anyway, that's my rant.
Yep.
This has been my TED Talk.
Yep.
They really need to do more than just make it size 3.
Mm-hmm.
But I know they won't, but they need to.
Jeremy, did you have anything else exciting about Captain America?
Not really. I like all the changes. I'm glad they did it. It makes me look at that character more and say, okay, it's not such a struggle just to always line up his abilities with his bodyguard, because he's the best bodyguard there is. Like, he's freaking ridiculous. So, and that's all he was before. Now he can actually not just be a bodyguard and also be able to apply his benefits of his leadership. So it makes me start thinking about lists again. Like, I could possibly use him in a list, because I don't like a big heavy bodyguard. That just is annoying to me. I don't like playing like that. So his new version, I don't have to play him that way if I don't want to and feel like I'm not wasting points,
Right. The fact
This is good.
They reference a lot in their article that they were trying to make him feel like a 4-point character that also had bodyguard and a team leadership, as opposed to he was a bodyguard on a stick that had a good leadership ability, and so they thought they had to cost 4 points. So they obviously balanced him more to be a 4-point character, to feel like somebody who actually does 4 points worth of work.
Yeah. No, I know Avengers are going to come back really hard with this. The difference between a 4 dice and a 5 dice attack is like statistically not a huge number, but on an attack that has a very important wild effect, it does matter a lot. And so that's great, but also like when you play Captain America, what do you want to do? You want to shield throw people. And before it was actively a bad choice.
Right.
There was no reason to ever use it because you're almost better off always using that extra action to either advance or strike people.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really nice to see that now. Like you can put him on the table and throwing his shield at people is not only a good idea, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
And so anytime you can make a character do what they're supposed to do in the fluff, that's great.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried this is going to make him kind of overbearing, but because the combination of the better attacks paired with the extra power generation, he's going to generate a lot more power now, which means he's going to be way harder to get through the bodyguards, which is really important.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
Speaking of power, we move along with a theme. A lot of characters, we talked about this, we made a big prediction whenever they announced they were going to do this, that we think a lot of characters are going to get their power curves flattened a little bit so they didn't feel like they were so difficult to climb. And Iron Man, the original, is a good example of this. The only thing they're really changing about him at all is that the Friday AI power is going from 3 down to 2. So, of course, with Cap, that means he can have it for 1 every time he does it. The first time he does it, so the second time would be 2. But the fact that he can use Repulsor Blast with 6 dice very consistently is not nothing.
It's awesome. It's actually great.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like nothing at first, and then you start doing math, and you're like, actually, this is going to be meaningful.
Right.
Because, like, basically just means that he gets a 6 dice Repulsor Blast every turn. Probably 2, realistically.
Right.
Because before, it was like, okay, well, turn 2, you can throw your first Repulsor Blast that's enhanced. But is it really worth it? Because then you'll be out of power, and she won't be able to do anything. Well, now he can, like, move up, pick up an objective, then next turn shoot off a Repulsor Blast that's enhanced, probably do 1 or 2 damage, and then maybe throw off another one that's enhanced, and it starts adding up real fast, and then his push effect on his Repulsor Blast starts happening a lot more often, because there's so many more attack dice you're rolling throughout the course of a game. So again, this was a great little change that's going to go a really long way. And this is exactly like what we were talking about, you're right, Parker, about like characters that have like a power generation issue. This is going to get him more power because he's rolling more dice while also reducing his power expenditure. So he's going to actually have like I would actually say he's probably going to get to use basically double the power in a game.
Right.
Like that one little change because he's in Avengers will cascade really hard through his kit. And this is like where characters like Jean Grey and Ebony Maw just get quicksanded. Like they just don't have enough. And because they don't have enough, they don't get to do what they're supposed to do, which just leads them to not having power again.
Right. Yeah.
I'm very happy with this.
He before he was a substandard turret that you almost never took. Now I think he's high standard, high quality.
I see that there's actually a comparison like between him and Hawkeye now.
Yeah, they do different things. Hawkeye's got to be much more mobile, but
exactly, yeah.
But this Iron Man will actually, like you said, like Hawkeye usually has power sitting on him. But he has glass jaw. He's still got a -1 damage and 4/3/3. Like that's pretty aggressive.
Even with the glass jaw, though, I don't think anybody would argue that Iron Man was on par with Hawkeye.
No, not even close.
Yeah, exactly.
Hawkeye was able to do so much more in a game. Absolutely. So yeah.
All right, what's next?
Next one is Captain Marvel. We also got some of her information spoiled, but the only thing we heard is that her binary form was changing. It was now confirmed. Binary form no longer costs 5. It now costs 4, which of course helps with her in Avengers, but also in A-Force. She'll be able to get to the required energy very easily. Also, one of the things that they mentioned is a lot of characters are going to have their pushes and throws go down to size 3, and they're going to make size 4 throws a premium thing for characters they really want to highlight, and they're giving Carol that as well. So she's going to have a size 4 throw, which is apparently going to be rare in the game. She is going to get immunity to incinerate, which is which is something that wasn't really prevalent in the game. Incinerate was not something they had flying around everywhere, but so many energy effects have Incinerate. They wanted her to be able to be immune to that because of her ability to absorb energy. And I think those are, that's it. Those are the changes to Captain Marvel.
I'm very happy with this. The change to binary form is big, like
Huge.
really big. Just like on Iron Man, getting her to guaranteed get into binary form on turn 2 is huge.
Right.
Because that means she basically becomes Captain Marvel faster.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just checking here on her original version. What was I confused about?
So she comes stapled with Demons Downtown. She's immune to that.
Oh, yeah,
She can
that's
throw anyone off, and
Yeah.
she has a beam. Like, she is a Demons Downtown monster.
Well, she doesn't have a beam, but she has the blast.
Doesn't she have a beam? I thought she did.
No.
Not a beam attack.
Oh, no. She's got the reroll attack, right?
Right.
Yeah, you're probably thinking Vision.
Yeah.
Reroll is good enough, though.
They're surprisingly similar characters now.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved Captain Marvel before she was cool. I'm going to be playing her after she's cool. I'm really excited.
Also, subtly, because she never got played, I never noticed she's immune to poison. That's actually really handy on her. Because messing with her power generation is really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then also gaining immune to Incinerate makes her binary form actually semi-relevant because it makes her very survivable. Because you're looking at minimum 5 defense dice at that point.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, she is not... You're going to have to get past her dice, which you can, but you have to get past her dice because she's going to be rolling a lot of dice. And now her Energy Blast or her Strike are all going to be really dangerous. But the Energy Blast has always been dangerous. Just 6 dice totally re-rolled is so good.
It is very good. Yeah, no, I think she's definitely going to start seeing play, especially with like Captain America available, because that's really what we're talking about. Like binary form gets dangerous with that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can set up situations, and it's not too hard, like we did it with Cabal, but if you can set up a situation where she only needs to move once and she can start taking shots at people,
Mm-hmm.
Demons is a decent example. If you just had go last with her and someone has moved up to contest the middle point, then she can just like take a step forward and shoot a range 4 blast. So she's getting 1 power on turn 1 for power up. She's shooting Energy Blast, which gives her 1. Next turn she'll power up again, which means she'll have the 3 if she's with Captain America to pull up binary form before she attacks on turn 2. Basically guaranteed as long as you can set up an attack for her turn 1.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be good.
You can also put characters like we used to put Wong with her just to get her over that hump, and Wong in Avengers is not bad either. He does a lot. But
it looks like he's going to be a lot less important nowadays.
Right. Yeah, it'll be a lot less. Like you won't have to take a 2-point crutch to make sure these kind of characters activate.
And that was the other thing. It's like now you're spending 10 points on Captain America, Captain Marvel, and Wong. It's like, well, you basically have one fighter for 10 points. Like that's rough.
Right.
But yeah, the size 4 on the throw is also obviously huge, and is appropriate for her potency in the universe.
Yeah.
She feels good on the whole, as you like to say.
Mm-hmm.
She has a good mouthfeel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So we get to someone that I am really, really excited about. By the way,
get out of my play space. This is mine.
We actually called this 2 days before it. No, we called this on Sunday. Yeah, we called this 3 days before it went. This information went live. We were standing in front of your car, getting ready to leave, and I said. And we were talking about how they're changing things. I was like, I hope Ultron gets some love. And you're like, yeah. We all started talking about Ultron. We did this literally 2 days before it was announced.
We knew he was getting updated. That wasn't like news or anything. But yeah.
Right, but I
bold statement. I think Ultron will get a buff.
Yeah.
Yes.
I loved our prescience, though. It was very timely. Yeah. So Ultron is getting some love. First thing, I don't know if you guys knew this, but as it turns out, Strength 6 strikes are okay, I guess. Ultron is getting a Strength 6 strike. Now, he's still going to only gain 1 for doing so. So he doesn't gain every power for having the 6 dice, but he does now have a 6 dice basic strike.
I actually disagree with this. I think attacks that guarantee generate 1 are very, very important to a lot of characters. Being able to just say, well, I can just strike you twice and I will have enough power for a kinetic field generator.
Yep.
That is a powerful effect.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no.
So
go ahead.
Right. I'm just saying, I want everyone to understand, I think attacks that generate 1, the gainers, not the builders, are very important for a lot of characters that have them.
I don't think there. I love having that utility, in I think it's more of a
Yes.
utility thing, like that you can get just one power when you absolutely have to have one. I think it's a really good idea. However, having 6 dice that don't gain you up to 6 power it definitely changes their curve.
Right, but he has, because he has the ability to do both. It's
Right.
good. Obviously,
Yes.
characters that don't have builders suck, but
Right.
you being able to choose between them, like I was playing Nebula the other day, huge ability to be able to just say, I get one, because I only
Right.
need one. It's like,
Right.
I don't care what this attack does.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
So the next change was Energy Blast is just getting a straight up buff by having a wild Incinerate on it. It's not changing otherwise, but it's just a straight up buff, which is fantastic. So you have Incinerate, one of the first Cabal characters I think to get Incinerate straight up. Then we have Kinetic Field Generator went from size 3 up to size 4 terrain also. So he'll be one of the rare characters that can do 4 after the reworks. And then Analyze and Annihilate got totally changed, and I think this is sublime. Now it works like this. Before resolving crit results, this character may reroll 1 dice in its attack roll for each crit in the opposing defense roll. Which I love. It represents him looking at his opponent going, you're defending more than I thought you would, so let me modify or modulate my wave that I'm sending at you, or my blast, or my strength, or whatever it is, to deal with the fact that you're defending well. If you've ever seen Ultron in the comic books, I don't know how many panels I've seen, Invisible Woman or Captain America throw up a shield, and he's just like standing there casually blasting away. No malice or meanness, just like holding down the button until it breaks. Like, that's so him. I love this new passive. I think it's very, very flavorful. What do you guys think of the new character?
Jeremy, you want to go first? I know how much you love Ultron.
I think it's fine. I'm not really an Ultron junkie, but I enjoy a character who is characterful, and I do have an issue with a range 2 6 dice attack. That's kind of annoying, but he does have a really great throw now, and he's got a really cool passive, so I'm happy. He makes me happy.
Yeah. Analyze and Annihilate was one of the misprinted abilities, and so they were going to need to clean it up anyway. But this is so much cleaner than it was before. Like, before it was semi-confusing. It was like, so you're going to roll extra dice after crits are resolved based on how many crits I rolled, which means that if they were like 2 crits into 2 crits, you got to add 4 dice, even though their crits didn't explode. It was kind of wonky. This is much better, I think, because you can re-roll your dice before they explode, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, also it's free, not having to spend power for it. Again, we're flattening the power curve, so let people actually use their power towards their attacks. I like that a lot too.
I do love the ability for superpowers to just make the character characterful. Instead of paying for the garbage, let the character do the thing it's supposed to do.
Yeah. So next, Incinerate on his blast feels really good. I mean, he literally is called Disintegrate. I think in a lot of the comics he has Disintegration Beam, so Incinerate makes sense. But yeah, range 4, 5 dice attack with Incinerate. That's pretty much up there with most great ranged attacks. So that puts him in good company. Just a straight up 6 dice strike puts him in good company. His Metallic Fury, you get to choose damage type, triggers bleed on a wild, which is whatever, but it's only 3 power, which is great. And Kinetic Field Generator is now, I believe, the exact same as Telekinesis on Scarlet Witch, which is already very good. He's very solid. I'm very impressed. I think this gets him, and the fact that he's going to be basically immortal unless you're playing against Ghost Rider, that's going to be a problem. A lot of people are not going to want this guy to just sit around forever, not dying.
Another curious effect, Ultron's stock goes up whenever Convocation comes out, because All Will Be Metal will actually trigger every once in a while.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's just a lot more. I mean, literally when he was printed, there were 0 Mystic attacks. So
yeah, right.
But yeah, I mean, he's only rolling 4 dice. Like, the odds of getting wild, it's like, whatever. It's like, way worse than Energy Absorption, sure. Right. I kind of wish it was like Energy Absorption. Just give him Energy Absorption and call it All Will Be Metal. It's fine.
Right.
He's definitely holding a point forever. Like, just if you want to go near him, you're going to get beat up.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to get thrown, you're going to get beat up. He's going to stand there for like 4 turns guaranteed.
I've always liked him as a tank role. Just push him into the middle of the board to contest the objective. People do not want to attack Ultron. because worst case scenario, you just give him a bunch of power so he kills you, because he actually hits pretty hard. And then
Yeah.
best case scenario, you spend 4 turns killing Ultron. Is that worth your time?
It's tough. You're gonna see him a lot.
Yeah. If his throw was able to throw enemy characters, I think he would be like very, very competitive. In fact, he might be too good.
He would be too good because he could just stand there and never die. And
He would never die. He would stand there and he would throw people off points, and you could never beat him on a point. It'd be very, very frustrating.
Another way his stock goes up whenever we have extra tactics cards we can bring into the game, because now you're not scared at
Less
all.
of attacks.
Yeah, you're not scared at all about taking his tactics card. Because if you don't play it, you're like, sure, that's fine. I've got 10 slots.
Cool. Yeah, there's some good stuff. I like it.
So that was all the news, but it was a fair amount. And man, I love the Ultron. Like I said, I can't get enough of this Ultron. I hope he's as scary as he is in the comics. He just stands there and beats things. I love it.
Alrighty. So next up, we're going to do a little bit of rating on some models that have been out for a bit now. We're going to rate the original Brotherhood models, the 4 original Brotherhoods.
Okay.
So this should actually go pretty quickly, I think, because I think we've gotten enough reps with them to know what we're talking about. So first up, we're going to start with Toad. One Mortimer L. Lindquist. Just kidding.
Lindquist.
Was it
Mortimer Toynbee.
Toynbee? That's it.
Sir Toynbee.
Captain Toynbee. So Toad has 5 health on the front side, 3 health on the back. Otherwise, his stats are identical as 3 defenses across the board. His movement is medium. He's a size 2, and he only costs 2 points. His first attack is a physical tongue lash at range 3 with 4 dice. After this attack is resolved, the character gains power equal to the damage. And push on a wild if they're size 2 or less. He has Spit Acid, which is an energy attack. Spender, it costs 2, rolls 5 dice only at range 2, and after this attack is resolved, the character gains Incinerate. He has Finder's Keepers, which is a 2 cost power. It's an action power that chooses an allied character within 2 of this character, move 1 asset or civilian token from the chosen character to him. He cannot hold more than the crisis specifies. He has another power called Hop. Place this character within 2 of his current position, only once per turn. Slippery, which is a 2-cost power. After an attack target against character is resolved, if this character is damaged by the attack, he may immediately advance medium. And then a Prehensile Tongue, which is a pretty unique passive that says if this character may interact with objective tokens within range 2 of himself instead of range 1. He also has Wall Crawler.
So Toad has mostly found himself in as with work on lists that need 2 points to fill holes, but also are just looking for attrition. He has some nice scenario interaction that you saw there, mostly with extracts, which is also very nice. But I think most people take him because he's like 8 hit points for 2 points, 5 on the front. He actually fights pretty well. He's mobile. He has a lot of good things going for him for 2 points. But yeah, I think he's mostly used as just like a mercenary fighter for 2 points. But there are some scenarios where his scenario rules actually come into pretty good use.
When he finds alien ship, I want to kill myself every game.
Yeah, he finds it and he's like behind terrain and you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
And then you like go to chase him and like you always roll bad when you attack him, so he just hops away and you're like, ugh, stupid idiot.
Yeah, Prehensile Tongue sounds lame at first, but then you realize the game is balanced around the idea that if you're contesting an objective or if you just extracted, then somebody who's walking up to you will be able to contest and hit you at the same time. Mm-hmm. Unless you're Toad.
So if Toad walks up to a middle point and picks up an extract, and Crossbones tries to walk at him, he will not be within range 2 at the end.
Yeah.
Like he literally cannot get within range 2, which means he can't attack him.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
Yeah, there are lots of ways that in this game, like you want to be able to do multiple things at once, and when both your extract and your secures are on the same deployment, and you can't do both things because Toad is interacting it for range 2, it's really annoying. He's not just annoying, he will also do things. Unlike he feels like a 2-point Loki, but he does more than Loki does. And he
can also come from like halfway across the board and incinerate your guy, which is
Right.
really annoying.
Right.
Also, slippery is not once per turn, so he could double move medium away from you in the middle of your turn.
Mm-hmm.
It's very annoying. It's like, I shoot you with rapid fire, response, and you're like, oh no. He's like, move. You're like, oh, the power core is way over there now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely a great 2-pointer. So let's get into rating. So numbers. Starting off with offense. Clearly not great, but amongst the not great characters in the game, he's okay. So he doesn't really do damage. His claim to fame is I incinerate people and maybe push them. I don't know, 2? He's better than Wong, so is he better enough than Wong to get up to a 2, or is he a 1?
No, he has incinerate on a stick. Like that's better than Wong.
Well, it's definitely better than Wong, but is it like proportionally better enough to get him to a 2? Because Wong probably isn't going to be the only 1.
He's better. He's definitely better than a 1. He's at least a 2.
Okay, Parker, do you agree?
I was actually going to say because he has range 3 and he can usually like keep doing all the things he wants to do from a distance. I actually thought he would be a 3.
No, you're crazy.
Maybe I am crazy. Who else do we have at a 3?
A lot of people, I think.
3. We had
3
Wasp
is
at a 3.
Groot.
Oh, he's not nearly the same as Groot.
Yeah.
I'm
Groot,
giving him credit
Lizard,
for spit acid, and
Yeah.
he can do that.
Mysterio has a 2. Yeah, like Incinerate's nice, but like Incinerate isn't damage. Like Incinerate's a control effect, or
It's
not
an energy
damage.
attack 5 dice that he buys for 2, which he has.
Yeah, it's not
so-
terrible, but most characters can just have a 5 dice energy attack. It's not against the rules.
No, but he does have a push
Mm-hmm.
as well on a 2-point. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I
That's
think
not
he's a 2.
damage. Yeah, I agree
Okay,
with you.
let's go 2.
Toad. Oh, I lost my spot.
Maybe you're looking for Toynbee.
Yeah,
You see, is it under Toynbee?
Toynbee, Toad, 2. Survivability, defense.
Oh my god, he's way too survivable. He's such a
He
shit.
is too survivable for a 2-pointer, but he's
Yes.
not hard to kill.
8
hit points in 3s. Slippery doesn't prevent damage.
You're not me, sir.
Okay, so let's just talk about his stat line.
Yep,
So his stat line puts him at a 2 at best.
correct. 3's across, 5
Maybe
on
a 1. Okay, so so Rocket is what? What did we give Rocket? I think we included his bodyguard thing. Though.
And cover. Yeah, Rocket has bodyguard, the super bodyguard, and cover. I think he's much.
We
more
gave
defensive.
Rocket a 2.
Yeah.
And so I think Toad is as survivable as Rocket. Probably a little more so.
Toad is more
It's-
survivable than Rocket because Rocket can get a car and die. Toad will take a car and not necessarily die. Like
True.
that's the thing that
3 hit
separates
points
them.
on the back though means that he's generally gone really quickly.
Then he does take
As-
a car and die.
Yeah.
Yes.
As soon as he's wounded, yeah, he's done.
So is he harder to kill than what's like in a generic 3s person? Is he harder to kill than Valkyrie? I don't think he is.
Kind of, right? Because he does have at least one defensive thing.
slippery.
If you don't kill him if you don't daze him
He
with the
has-
first attack,
He
you're
has
probably not
3
dazing
less
him.
hit points though.
Mm.
I mean, yeah, he's probably going to slippery away once per game. How hard to kill does that make him?
I give him a point for that. Like a point for that, and that's about it. Because 5 is no change or anything. Like he just gets a point for slippery, man. Everything else is standard.
So we gave Okoye a 2. I think he's in line with Okoye. Because she's got the same hit points, she's got the same defensive stats, but she has a reroll on defense. And she gets blanks, doesn't she?
Yes, within 2.
Yeah, he's got to be a 2 then.
He's not as good as her. Yes.
Yeah, he's got to be a 2. I think he's a very good 2, but I don't think he's a 3. I think the extra hit points are the difference, because the best slippery is usually going to do is save you a couple hit points. Alright, so moving on to next thing, support. He actually does have support, because he can move objectives around. He does it in a very weird way.
Yeah, taking objectives from friendlies is not nothing.
Yeah.
And
The
then
sad part is he can't do it in reverse. Like, he can't give it to somebody, but
and then incinerate on a stick also.
mhm. That's not support. That's control.
Yes.
So is he a 2 or a 3 on support? What do you guys think? So Black Widow, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. got 2 on support because she can get you a control point, even though it's kind of convoluted.
I could live with the 2. I mean, he's not that.
Yeah,
You don't use him.
it doesn't
for that.
come up very often.
No.
Yeah,
And if he does
2
take
is.
it, then you just kill him.
I'm just gonna point out so far he's 2/2/2.
Well.
And so we might hit the 4-fecta right
The
now.
magic.
Yeah. All right, so control. He actually is pretty good at control. So first off, he has a wild push on his 4 dice attack. It pushes up to size 2, away short, and then he applies incinerate automatically on his special attack. That's it. So wild push gives him probably a 2. How important is incinerate at range 2?
Not extremely.
I mean, not a lot, but it's on a stick. Like, it's guaranteed. You just do it.
It is guaranteed.
You spend 2 and he has it. Like, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Because
All
I
right,
mean,
so what do you think, Jeremy? Give me a number.
you know what? I'm not going to break the trend. It's
Not
a
gonna
2.
break the trend. You don't want to rock the boat.
It's a 2.
I was gonna say 2 because if he had a better strike attack, I think I would go 3 because I do think incinerate on a stick is very valuable. But the odds of him actually pushing somebody are pretty low.
Yeah.
Even though it's range 3, only having 4 dice to trigger the wild, and it only affects up to size 2. He doesn't generally hang out and double attack people. He's usually moving to attack, so he's only doing it once. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's actually that great. So yeah, I'm gonna go with 2. Parker, what's your thoughts?
Definitely a 2. 100%.
2 it is. All right. So now the most important question: is he a skirmisher or a controller?
This
This is the only model where I would actually say I think he might be both, but I think he leans more towards skirmisher.
He's a skirmisher.
Okay, skirmisher it is.
And every time I've ever seen him on the table, I thought, wow, what a skirmisher. I didn't think, wow, what a controller.
You use the word skirmisher.
Yeah, I said it
You're
out
lucky.
loud.
That might be the word of the day. Brandon, word of the day?
No, it's not.
Okay,
It's
good.
not.
Okay.
It's not.
It's not of the day. We set. Do you not remember this, Jeremy? We set this months ago.
Oh, no, I don't remember.
I just haven't encountered it yet.
Okay. I'll have to hold him to it then.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you after he's
Okay.
off the line. I don't want to give anything away.
Deal.
How about also we'll add the note every time he says the trap word, then there's a new trap word, and the other one is on the permanent list.
Ah,
Gotcha.
I like that.
what is this game-
We'll have a list of words he can't say.
isn't this a drinking game? Like every time?
Probably.
Yeah, I think this one's like
we
a
can
card
make
game.
it one. Get some drinks.
Antiquing?
Okay,
Antiquing.
so we have a 2-2-2-2 skirmisher.
8.
I would like to
8.
open the bidding at a 7 because he
no,
gets
no,
2
no.
points.
8.
Why 8? You just want to add it
2,
up?
4. Yeah, you just add them. Isn't that how we do it?
No, that's
Oh,
definitely not how we
sorry.
do it.
I messed up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with a 7. What do you guys think? He is commonly reached for as one of like the 3 best 2-pointers in the game. I see him more than I see Okoye.
Every time he's in a list, it's never the wrong choice. I mean,
Mhm.
it's fine. Like,
Obviously, taking Okoye over him is never the wrong choice either, because
Mhm.
if you're taking Okoye, you want Bodyguard, and Toad does not do that. But if you
Correct.
want an independent functioning model for 2 points that will affect the game, it's hard to go wrong with Toad. Because he doesn't have a weakness.
But he is. So why are we giving him 2s across the board if he doesn't have a weakness? I feel like we should be.
Because he's
his
not
average-
impressive. But you gotta remember, for 2 points.
Right.
Like, what we're rating now considers the 2 points. What we're rating on the other stats is taking the entire game into consideration.
Okay.
And so within the game, but look at it, he doesn't have a 1 anywhere. He's
Mhm.
not deficient in anything.
No, he has something to do with
He's-
every part of the game.
He's actually one of the very few characters that doesn't have a 1. And he's only 2 points.
Yeah.
7 seems awfully high, but for a 2-point, which you need almost every single list, and I mean, if he's in Brotherhood, you're obviously taking him. Like, I don't know why you would take
Yeah.
a different one. You just take him. It's fine.
So how about this? We're ignoring affiliations. I'm going to just sort by threat level here. All right. Black Widow. In a vacuum, is he better than Black Widow? These are rapid fire.
No.
You don't think so?
No.
You don't think what he adds to a game isn't better than Black Widow?
No, because it doesn't
no.
belong.
Okay. All right, so Black Widow, Bob?
Yes. Better than
Yeah.
Bob, yes.
Okay. Nebula.
Yes.
No.
Keep in mind
No.
everything Nebula does, including not score objectives.
Correct. That's why I'm saying yes. I
Right.
think
Right.
he's better
So
than
better. Okoye.
I don't think so. But go ahead.
that. No.
I don't think he's better.
Not better than Okoye. I
No.
think that's a fair. Rocket?
No.
You don't think he's better than Rocket?
No.
I say yes. Rocket's a 5-point model. That's the problem with Rocket.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Is Rocket is good, but if you just put Rocket on the board, he will not actually contribute that much because he'll just die.
What? If you actually put Rock on the board, he doesn't contribute that much.
If you're
But he-
just playing Rocket in a vacuum.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
If
Oh,
you're paying 5 points for Rocket, then I'm getting Valkyrie with my Toad.
I understand. Yeah.
So we've got 2 so far. Wong. Obviously, Wong has its place, but I don't think he's better than Toad.
Toad is way better.
Yeah. So it's basically Okoye and Toad, or Okoye, Toad, and Black Widow are like the 3. I disagree with Black Widow, but I would say Bob is better than Black Widow. But that's my opinion.
Long move, stealth. I like that a lot. But anyway,
Black Widow does stuff, and if what you want is Black
Yeah.
Widow, then Black Widow is always the right choice. But I'm just saying in a vacuum, when you're not like, I need a long mover with stealth and martial arts, well then, yeah.
I would rather see Black Widow against me than I would Toynbee. So
Yeah. So anyway, so I said 7. Do you guys have a number you'd like to put forth that we can discuss?
Because of his effect on the game, I'll go with a 6 because I feel a 7 is too high.
Interesting. Parker, tell him why he's wrong.
I actually think he's a 6 because he can be.
God damn it.
I actually think he's a 6 because he can be so easily removed once he's been dazed. So as soon as he gets dazed, then he's functionally like a fire and forget character. Some character can randomly backhand him the next turn with a single action. It doesn't cost a lot to actually go get him. And I know a 2-pointer, it shouldn't cost a lot to go get him. I get that. But the fact that he's so easily dismissed on the backside, I don't like that. But
It's certainly not great. I would say that it's more important that he has 5 health on the front, which is obviously by far the more important side. And it will allow him to leverage so much of his effect in the early game.
right.
Because most 2-pointers don't live to the late game anyway.
Right.
Anyway, I put it down as a 6.
Okay.
Moving on. Sabretooth.
My man. Love
Victor
me some Sabretooth.
R. Creed.
So, Sabretooth is a 4-cost, 3 size, even though it's on a small base. Movement long, 6 health in the front and the back. He is identical in the front and back. And he has 3 defense on all stats. And he has a physical attack called Claw Slash, a range 2, 5 dice. He gains power for the damage dealt, and a wild bleed, and a wild pierce. He also has a physical attack called Savage Predator. It's a spender for cost 4. It gives him 7 dice at range 2, and if he gets a wild and a hit, it's a special effect called Finisher. He immediately gets to do a Claw Slash attack and rerolls any number of attack dice during the Claw Slash. He also has a effect called No Mercy for 3. It's a power that lets him add 1 dice to the attack roll he's about to do for each damage that he has to a maximum of 3. He has Untamed Force, which is a 2-cost power. After an attack is made by another character towards him, he can move within 2 I'm sorry, brain farted for a second. If the attacker is within 2, this character may make a claw slash attack against the targeting character. This superpower can only be used once per turn. This also works with aggressive, which is after he has been damaged by an attack, he may immediately advance short towards the attacking character. So you can resolve aggressive and then do Untamed Force to move and attack somebody if he gets pushed or if he's being attacked by too far away. He also has healing factor of 1.
Okay. I think this character is overlooked by a lot of new players as just like a random beater. But he has like this miracle combination of abilities that actually makes him the foil to so many things that I think people overlook him way too quickly. And it's not just like, oh, well, Wolverine's better than you think he is. Like, this character needs to be in most people's like stable of characters they play with.
He's like a meta tech character is actually what he is. He doesn't look like it when you look at him at first. He's like, oh, he's just kind of a faster Wolverine who doesn't heal as well and doesn't hit quite as hard unless you get wilds. But you're like, nope, actually, he actually has this weird kit that works specifically against some of the most frustrating models in the game. Sabretooth just makes them his punk bitches. It's wonderful.
Yeah. Combination of size 3 and speed long, it has a lot of weird implications. Like, he can move over almost all terrain. There's not very many size 4s that generally get put out. And while that also means he doesn't get cover a lot, he kind of doesn't need it because most people just won't attack him because of his counterattack ability and aggressive, changing the board state in the middle of your turn. He hits surprisingly hard, and Savage Predator has one of the highest damage potentials of all attacks in the game. Because if you actually trigger No Mercy at the right time, you're talking about a 10 dice attack that on a wild and a hit is producing an additional attack that has full rerolls and pierce.
And it's a builder.
And it's a builder. But it doesn't say that you have to attack the same person.
Exactly.
That's the point. It's not finisher, it's kill everyone should be the name of the ability. And so you can take someone out with Savage Predator, trigger the finisher, and then attack somebody else. It's fucking crazy.
To imagine...
I think that was honestly an oversight. I don't think they intended it to work that way.
Right. Also, the fact that it's one of the only... There's a few spenders in the game that have the potential to gain power. This is one of the only ones. This one will most likely gain you some power back. It costs 4, but you're probably going to get some power back if finisher goes off, because you're going to get a fully rerolled Claw Slash with as Pierce on it. So it's so unlikely that it's not going to give you some power back.
Yeah. Aggressive is also just one of the best abilities in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to counter stuff like Shuri, and there's so many attacks that wildly push now. And so being able to counter those types of abilities is very important. And the ability to attack somebody in the middle of their fucking turn is incredible. Mm-hmm. Like, if anybody hasn't dealt with this before, I can't count how many times Jeremy and Jason have just done like 6 damage to one of my characters mid-turn. Like, okay. It's like, I guess you got me.
Also, it's wild bleed, so if they do it with their second attack, they just take a damage on top of whatever they did. So
yeah, I love doing this with people.
It's such an efficient, like you said, he has all the things that he actually needs to make his kit work very well.
Mm-hmm. Jeremy, do you have any points you want to bring up that we didn't talk about?
I think maybe something that's overlooked is he does take a tactics card to kind of keep him moving. Like, he can be countered pretty easily by something dumb, a push or a throw at the wrong time. Like, he's going to cause it would cause you to have to like activate, move, and then do something. But if you've got a tactics card to support him in any way, just one of your tactics cards kind of needs to be attached to him, and it should be either a healing card at the right time or a move or something. Because his activations are so good. And his stats are kind of shit when it comes to taking damage. So if he gets owned, it's because you didn't have that right tactics card, because he has so many good ones that keep his ass doing what he needs to do. And that's really where I think he fails when people don't dig him. It's because they didn't attach a card to him. I mean, he's got a card that keeps him alive forever. We've got cards that move him back into the battle. There's tons of things to keep him going.
Yeah.
When you put him like on a solo flank by himself, contesting with another person, and you have exceptional healing available, they might as well just not attack you. Like, there is no math that works out to where you will kill him and he won't kill you back. Like, it just doesn't happen. And so and if you try and like throw him away, he just walks back. If you push him away, he gets to walk back for free. It's like, what do you do? Like, what are you supposed to do about this? And if you attack him, he hits you for free, applying bleed in the middle of your turn. So you're probably going to take free bleed damage on top of whatever else you were doing. And then he's going to activate, heal some of the damage, and hit you twice. Like, it just, there's no win. Like, he hits you 3 times for 1, basically.
Finally, also, if you don't do damage to him, if he acquires 4 power, he's got to get up to 4 power. But if he gets 4 power and you want to, you can actually use No Matter the Cost combined with No Mercy to just do a 10, because you could pay 3 for No Mercy, which says the next attack will do extra die for how much damage he has. Even if he has no damage, you can then do No Matter the Cost to drop Savage Predator by 3, and because you can do 3 damage to himself, now it's working, and he rolls a 10 dice Savage Predator. It's a dumb idea, but it's another card that's...
It doesn't work.
Why does it work?
The No Mercy is for how much damage the target has.
I have been playing that so wrong.
A lot of people play it
Oh
wrong.
my gosh.
Yeah.
I have been playing that incorrectly. It's the target, not him, of course. It says, oh my gosh.
Wolverine is the other way.
Wolverine's the opposite.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, and that makes perfect sense with also his character.
Jesus Christ!
I have cheated.
Cheater, fuck.
God damn it!
Now, the good news is I think I've for all the time I played Sabretooth, I think I've done No Mercy. Like,
turns out
twice,
the amount of times you Savage Predator somebody and they've lived have been irrelevant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, now that Parker's done wasting our time with lies. Yeah, I don't know if I can have enough good things to say about Sabretooth. He is so important in, like, today's meta. As far as what Jeremy said, tactics cards, obviously we've been talking about exceptional healing, keeping him alive. Like, how do you kill him? Like, you just can't.
Weapon
It's
X.
like, so
Good.
You basically have to one-shot him, because if you don't one-shot him, he ignores the other attack.
Also, Weapon X training is nice because he is a size 3.
Right.
When he throws himself, like you said, if he gets thrown, he just Weapon X himself back at people, and he's a size 3. He's a car coming back at you.
So let's say, hypothetically, they daze him, right? And you have Weapon X training available to you. The next turn, you can open up by Weapon X training, throwing yourself into position, dealing 4 impact damage to somebody they have to dodge, then triggering Savage Predator and No Mercy if you want to, which would cost all your power at that point, but who cares? You Savage Predator, kill the person that was already damaged by your throw, because you just threw yourself at them. I doubt they dodged 4. So they're going to take some damage, No Mercy, Savage Predator, or don't No Mercy if they don't have enough damage. Probably kill them with the Savage Predator attack. Triggering Finisher, you get to attack somebody else with your Claw Slash with full rerolls, and you still have an action left. Like, it's just crazy the damage potential he has available to him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every game I played him, he basically will take out anything in a half. Like, you'll take out whatever model you're going for, and then half of another, and then he'll blow out like a firework. Like, he just kind of like, he'll eventually run out of gas on you, because people have to fight him, and they have to deal with him.
So, exceptional healing is basically the tax you play to say that you're not allowed to attack my character. It's like having inspiring monologue on you at all times. People will go out of their way to not attack Sabretooth, even if technically, based on the situation, it doesn't hurt them to do so. Like, it's so rare for people to attack him because they've seen what he can do, or they don't know, and they'll mistakenly attack him at the worst times, and you'll get massive leverage out of him. Because you're like, oh, I guess Okoye attacks Sabretooth. Okoye is dead. And you're like, oh, well, that was not good for me. And you're like, next, my action, I'm going to move over here and kill you. Like, oh, God. Like, he just does so much. Other good cards that you can play with him. Climbing Gear's not bad. But I think if you're going to play Climbing Gear, you should just play Weapon X training instead. Unless you want Climbing Gear to be available for other people also. No Matter the Cost is pretty good because he can heal the damage and he has an amazing spender. And so just being a couple damage power short is not a big problem for him. Also, Doomed Prophecy is pretty fucking annoying on him. If you also
did you
have
like that?
Yeah, that was some bullshit. Well, also it was just bad dice. But
I killed your whole army.
It was pretty stupid. So you're talking about 8 dice claw slashes coming back at you every time you attack him. And if you don't kill him, that's a problem. Like, the time that it happened, he had, I think, 4 remaining hit points, and he made 4 attacks with Doom Prophecy up. He rolled 0 defense dice and made 4 attacks. I was so mad. He literally dazed 3 people before I got to go.
Oh my gosh.
There was a lot.
Yeah, or before he died. He dazed 3 people before he got to go.
It was pretty
Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of good cards for Sabretooth. Anyway, let's get into the numbers, though. Offense. So Sabretooth has notably above average offensive potential. Unfortunately, it's all physical damage. But having Pierce and Bleed available helps curve that off a bit. Finisher is obviously an amazing attack we just talked about. And also Untamed Force. The ability to generate additional attacks is absolutely huge. I think Untamed Force is better than Charge.
Mm-hmm.
Like, combined with Aggressive, it is better than Charge, in my opinion. Because you will generate more move and attacks than someone with Charge will over the course of a game.
Also, you almost always unless they only did 1 damage to you and you didn't have a power, you'll have enough power to do it. Unlike Charge, where you can look at somebody and be like, they can't charge me, I'm fine.
Also, just the mental, like, torture chambers you put people in, where it's like, okay, well, Sabretooth isn't on the point, but if I attack him, he gets to move to the point. But I have to attack him because I need power to do my thing. And you're like, it's like, what do I do? It's like, there's no correct answer here.
Give him a number. I want to see how big your number is. I bet my number will be bigger.
Okay, so 8.
Oh, that's the same number I was going to say.
I'm giving him the same number we gave Valkyrie. He hits at least as hard as Valkyrie. Yeah. The only reason it's not higher is because he doesn't have a static throw. If he had a static throw he could just do, or throw at all, he'd be a 9. He hits so hard. And the additional attacks are order of magnitude better than what you think they are.
Yeah.
I could live with an 8. An 8 sounds about right.
All right. Unanimous 8. Survivability. Oh boy. I think we're assuming that you have exceptional healing. But the number should probably... Let's talk about both. So his normal number as a 12 hit point model with 3s and healing factor. But because he has Untamed Force and the deterrent of attacking him that creates, I would give him a 5.
I was actually going to say 5. Wow, we're running them all.
Now, because exceptional healing is so unanimously taken with him, because it is the correct choice. It's like not taking All Will Be Metal or Deal with the Devil, in my opinion. It's that level impactful. I think he makes it up to a 7. It is so hard to get this guy off the board.
See, I don't think so. I don't think he's a 7.
You don't think so?
No. I think he eats things being thrown at him. He can't really do much about it. If you just focus on him, you can do damage to him. People are just scared of it because they don't want to take the hit back. So that's a deterrent. I do agree that there is some deterrent in there, but that brings me to a 5 or a 6. I think 7 is very high for survivability.
I think 7 is high.
Because I don't think he's that
I'm just trying to think about the amount of throwing stuff you'd have to do to get him off the table.
I mean, if you threw a car at him, a size 2 would be normal.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. The throwing makes it a lot easier because you can soften him up with the throw damage and then hope that you one-shot him with your first attack. Like, that definitely, gets you into a realm of doable. So, yeah, the throws are very important, but it's not like you're just going to kill him with throws, right? Like, that's not
No, I expect he'll eat a car and probably 2 big attacks. And that might just kill him. Like, there's nothing that says that he won't just die from that. Like, on an average...
Exceptional healing says that.
From what do you mean, exceptional healing? How does that...
2 big attacks cannot kill him if you have exceptional healing.
If you have that tactics card, yes. So that gives him an additional boost. I'll give him that.
That's what I'm saying. So the 7 is assuming you're playing exceptional healing. The 5 I said originally is if you're not. If he's tactics cardless, I think he's a 5 on survivability.
Without that tactics card, I put him at like a 3 or a 4. Like, he is not that survivable.
Much better than that.
Compared to all the others, he's a 4-point model that has 3s.
So he's above average hit points, healing factor, and Untamed Force. You think that's a 3?
Well, if you add those up, that's 3 or 4. That's not that much more. He's a 4-point model.
That's a lot more to me.
So it lands for a 5 for me. I'm giving him a 5.
Okay.
That's my opinion. Done.
Jeremy says 5. I said 7. Parker, what do you think?
I actually, the times I put him down on the board, I don't know how many times this has happened where somebody throws a car at him and hits him once for 2, and I go, well, fuck, because now this is going to put him at 1 health, and exceptional healing does nothing.
Well, that's if you didn't dodge anything on the car, and then didn't play exceptional healing then. So yeah, I get that, but it's fine to save it for the backside, I think.
Right.
Yeah, it works for both sides. I'll give him that. Like, it's great.
Yeah.
It's a great card.
Because he's not like Wolverine, where he's only got 5 on the back. He's got a full 6 on the back.
Right. And
so you're still looking at minimum probably 2 attacks to even threaten killing him.
I think exceptional healing timing is really difficult. Also, if you're playing any other healing factor characters, which you might be to make it more obvious.
I don't think the timing's difficult. You're just at the mercy of dice. Like, if you never get a good chance to do it, I think it's worth playing the card just because your opponent is assuming that it's going to happen. Like, they're never going to attack you with, like, a Corvus Glaive because you can just erase it.
Right.
Like, so the fact that it shuts down stuff like that and it forces your opponent to play around it, I think is very valuable. Even if it never happens. But obviously, in factions like X-Force and probably even like Spider Foes, you can get multiple healing factor characters, and so exceptional healing isn't just wasted on Sabretooth. It's usable on multiple people.
Right. I think it's based upon how many times I've played him. I do believe the fact that you can attack back is a huge deterrent, and it's not just a deterrent; it's an active defense. Because if they attack you and if they only have 3 health left, they're just dazed, like they're lost their second action. He kind of sometimes he has the special Untamed Force could read, make your opponent immediately dazed, they lose their second action. Like that is a form of defense.
I have seen Untamed Force win games because just like the middle of their turns, like my only option, like Sabretooth gets the objective. And so, like, the only option is to kill Sabretooth. You walk up and you hit him. He counter-strikes you for 4 and you're bleeding. And you're like, I guess I hit you again because I have to get you to drop the token. They do, like, 2 damage and fall down dead. And you're like, okay, I guess I just won the game.
Right.
Like it's just so hard to deal with that.
So
because the game isn't balanced around you taking attacks in the middle of your activation.
Right. So... because also he has aggressive, which I think is, I don't know if it's offensive or defensive, but
without aggressive, a totally different story. Yeah,
right.
Because you stand outside too.
It's so consistent. His Untamed Force is so consistent. That's why I actually was going to give him a 5, no matter what. Now, if we want to include exceptional healing in there, I actually think it only bumps up to a 6, just based on my own play experience, and maybe I've just been butterfingers with it, and I haven't seen it used at a great time, or I'm not good at applying it. I do not think he gives him 2 points. I think he gives him 1. So, I guess what I'll say is, if we're taking it, I'm going to go with a 6.
6 it is. Moving on. Support. He has 0 support. He has nothing that interacts with friendlies. So that's a 1.
He has the opposite of support. He flies into his own team, and he does 4 fucking damage. That's what he does.
True. Well, but he's speed longer. He's kind of a loner anyway. So if he's standing in the middle of your army, that's kind of your fault.
It's always bad.
Yeah.
Wolverine stands in the middle of your army. He's good at that.
Mm-hmm. So lastly, we have control. Applying bleed is not necessarily control, but the level at which he interacts with like people's decision making, I almost want to say he's a 2 on control between the bleeding people in the middle of their turn.
But he doesn't have anything on his card.
But yeah, it's no hard control, so yeah, I think it's got to be a 1.
Yeah.
So do we want to call him a scrapper or a brute? I think scrapper. I think is probably more accurate.
He's a scrapper.
His job is to murder people.
Yeah. Murder, death.
Okay. So now, here's where we make the money. What's his overall rating? We have a 8611 scrapper for 4 points. That's a pretty good line. I like that. He's very obvious on what he does. He's like, I kill people and I die slow. You're like, yep, that's what I wanted. It's like, good job.
Also, he's a huge meta choice, like we said before. Like he's a huge like, I'm going to put Sabretooth in here. Oh, you're playing Web Warriors, Sabretooth. You're like, enjoy trying to fuck this guy.
It's more than just the numbers. It's like because Valkyrie is an 8, but Valkyrie doesn't beat the current meta.
Right.
It's because he counters all the weird control stuff, and he's got like just the right amount of survivability to get through their bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like him a lot. every time I put him on the table, I feel great, and when I play against him, I feel like shit. Like, oh, it's so annoying.
It's a kick in the nuts.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give him a really big number.
I'm thinking 8.
I
think he is impactful in the current meta, like seriously impactful.
I also believe he is an 8. I believe he is a strong 4-pointer. Definitely an 8.
Jeremy,
You guys are blowing up numbers today.
that's because he's good.
I
good.
do not disagree. I don't think he's an 8, but I'll go with an 8. You guys called it.
Well, you can disagree. You'll just be out.
Yeah, I know. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
I'm not saying he's not good,
All right.
folks. He's good.
We're gonna save the best for last. So next up is Raven Darkholm Mystique.
Mystique is a 3-cost character. She has speed long. She's size 2. She has 5 health on both sides, identical actually on both sides, and she has 3 defenses across the board. She has a pistol, which is range 3, 4 dice, gains 1 power, and rapid fire only on a hit. She gets to shoot again at the same target. She has espionage, which is a range 2, 6 dice for 3 power, and the target character automatically is stunned. She is a Brotherhood of Mutants leader, for her leadership is called Freedom Force. Once per turn, after an allied character interacts with an extract token, the allied character gains 1 power. So basically, you recycle power if you interact with extracts. Allied characters may use an interact ability called Secure Objective Token. You place a token on an objective. While this token is in play, you are securing it. If the enemy character contests this objective token, it falls off. You may only have 1 token in play at a time, but any of your characters can create it. She has a 3-cost power called Expert Sabotage. It's an action that lets her blow up terrain features with size 3 or less within 4 of her, and enemy characters within 1 immediately suffer 2, so it turns it into a bomb, basically. The terrain feature is immediately removed from the battlefield. Only once per turn. She has a Martial Artist as a passive, so when she's defending within Mystic or Energy within 2, she adds blanks. She has Shapeshifter.
Physical.
What did I say?
You said Mystic.
Oh, wait, sorry.
Non-Mystic.
Non-Mystic, yep. Shapeshifter, which is during the character's activation, enemy characters cannot use reactive superpowers or reactive team tactics cards. And she has Stealth.
I have been a long time detractor from Mystique. I do not think she is good. But I will say Shapeshifter is a really good ability. Expert Sabotage is the same as Punisher's ability to blow stuff up. My biggest problem with Mystique is she doesn't seem to have enough power to do what she wants. Because if she moves into range 3 to kind of use her pistol, she takes damage back because she doesn't get to use her martial arts. And so she's really advantaged by moving into range 2 of people. But then she's generally closer to the rest of their army and stealth becomes less effective. Also, her pistol only rapid fires on a hit, where there's a lot of rapid fire that doesn't require a die result to rapid fire, and that's really annoying. She doesn't have power or action economy to use Expert Sabotage very often. I don't know. I think her leadership is good, but I never see anyone use it because if you're playing Brotherhood, I think you're probably playing Magneto, so I don't really see it happen very often. Most people that I see use it forget that it's their leadership, honestly, which is, not a great example, but
every time I read her and I play these other factions and I remember how good her leadership actually is. I mean, it has 2 parts. One of them is all your characters get X-Men First Class, that card, which people claim is good. She just gets it. The fucking thing, they all just get it. That's got to be good. And you can go wide in Brotherhood with a bunch of good characters. Like, it's got to be good.
Right?
I mean, I don't know.
So, I will say this. I think that her kit, like how I read her card, I was like, oh man, look at all the stuff she does. I immediately went and put her on the table. And it just did not translate to the table. Yeah, I know we've talked about that before, where it's like, oh, so-and-so is, like, really broken. And then we put him on the table, we're like, nope, it's fine. Like, Lizard, we're like, this character breaks the game. And we put him on the table, we're like, nope, he's totally fine. Like, he's good, not broken. Like, they were correct. Like, it just looks worse on or better on paper. I think she looks way better than she is on paper. I think that if you played more games with her than I have, you probably can get to a point where you are good enough with her to do stuff, and it's effective. but I just have not had that experience. Every time I put her on the table, she's just always comes up like, an entire action short of what she needed to do, and it's just very annoying.
I think this character is played because of Deception, her tactics card. I think people.
Sure. I think that's probably a good point.
I think
she has a very good tactics card.
Yeah, I think as people go like, this tactics card is a game winner. It's like it's one that I want all the time, and she is not a big enough tax to not play Deception. Like, there's some really good tactics cards out there, but you're like, do I want to play 5 points for Scarlet Witch just to shush people? Well, maybe not. I don't think I can do it. But for 3 points for a character that is not exceptional, but she's also not mediocre, probably. Then people will be willing to play that just to have Deception. And she's a 3-point character to let you play Magneto with her, right? So sounds great.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been overly impressed. I like that her big attack does stun automatically. I'm surprised it's not like on a wild.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like, she's got a lot of good pieces. I just don't feel like they add up to anything. So let's move on to numbers. Mystique's offense. Expert Sabotage is a great piece of offense, but considering that she's basically going to be enraged to just use her pistol and most of the time, unless there's multiple people around, but then it costs an action and it costs energy. So, like, the problem I was running into is like, okay, well, I want to make this thing blow up, but I wasn't in range to shoot anybody with my pistol, so I didn't have the power. And if I moved to get in range to shoot the pistol, I wouldn't have the action to do the explosion. And it was just very frustrating that I felt like I was always in that situation. Where I was like, I need to do all 3 or it doesn't work.
Well, in Brotherhood, if we're playing her in Brotherhood, can we consider the fact that Magneto might be giving her power with his leadership?
Yeah, but then we're not using her leadership because Magneto's leadership is better.
Right.
And so she's lost a decent portion of her kit at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, wouldn't you just rather have Quicksilver?
Right. Point.
It's like, and if you already have Quicksilver, it's like, wouldn't you rather have, like, name a 3-pointer?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's very annoying. Like, I'd rather play Punisher. Like, if you don't need affiliation, Punisher's just better. He always rapid fires. He has a better special attack. He has a better way to do passive damage. He has the exact same sabotage ability. He's more mobile than Mystique is, despite him being moved shorter.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's very, very frustrating. I just felt like an unaffiliated character was just objectively better.
So what's her offense number?
Pistols are good. Her spender is okay. And Expert Sabotage on her, I don't think is very good. I don't know. 4? 3 maybe? Probably a 4. The pistol probably gets her to a 4.
Yeah, I mean, auto damage from her explosion if she can get it, plus the pistol. I mean, that's pretty good. She's got a good spender.
The great thing about the explosion is that you can hit multiple people with it, but I feel like that will only happen if your opponent literally forgot you have it. And so I don't think that's value. If you're playing somebody who doesn't know how your models work, you should win. So, like, that's why I don't give it much credit.
Yeah, I mean, very often, most of these objectives are next to something. I mean, you don't have a choice. You're going to be having to stand there and get blown up if that's what you want to do.
The combo in Brotherhood is you use Magneto to place a metallic construct within range of 2 people, and then get Mystique to make it explode.
Yeah.
The problem with that logic is that Magneto could have just gone first and killed both of them. So I don't understand.
But maybe you want to daze 5 people that turn.
Yeah, maybe Magneto needed to kill the other 2 people. Like, okay. It's like, well, then you're playing the wrong 3-point model because you should be playing difficult to please.
Yeah.
Anyway, what do you guys think? Give me a number other than 4.
3.
3? Nice.
I actually think it's a 3 as well because I don't think she gets there.
I like it. Bring these numbers down. We got to offset for how good Sabretooth is. Survivability. This is definitely gonna be your best stat. So she has stealth. She has martial artists. Done. Like,
yeah.
She also
only
has
10 hit points.
She has the ability that says you can't do, what is it, superpowers or whatever.
Reactives.
Yeah, reactive
superpowers or reactive tactics cards.
Which means Sabretooth can't do his thing.
Right. So she doesn't get attacked back by Sabretooth or Venom. She can't trigger Counter Strike. She can't trigger booby traps. You can't play Seeing Red. You can't play
Heroes for Hire,
Exceptional
right?
Healing. You can't
Lethal
play
Protector.
Heroes for Hire.
Lethal Protector.
There's a lot of really good stuff that stops. Like when I said when we first started, Shapeshifter I think is her best rule by far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The problem is that who the fuck cares because it's Mystique, right? Like, like who cares?
Mm-hmm.
Oof. She's probably got to be higher. The problem is, like, if she's actually using her kit to survive, I don't think she's doing much. I think her kit falls apart if she's in position to use her kit. Like, if she gets in position to use the pistol and the explosion and her espionage, then she dies. And so, I just don't understand. Like, it just doesn't mesh well. I don't know. I would say she's got to be at least a 4. She's 1 hit point below average, but has martial artist and stealth and shapeshifter. I don't know, probably a 5. I want to say a 4, but it's probably a 5. If you want her to not die, she won't die. The problem is she won't do anything.
I mean, the problem with martial artist being it's amazing. It's so dice dependent. Like that'll bite you in the ass right when you need it.
Yeah.
I'd rather...
Yeah, and only 3 dice is like it's like hit blank or hit skull, and you're like, well, I died.
It's not damage reduction. It's not, there's certain things you can count on. That one you can't, especially because she only rolls 3 dice. So it's not like she rolls 5.
Yeah.
Right.
I'd say 4.
Yeah. Parker?
Yeah, I think she's a 4 because it's just fine, not great.
Yeah. Next up is support. She's a leader. I actually really like her leadership ability. Outside of that, she has no support, so I would open the bidding with our standard 3 for a leader. That is a good ability.
Yeah.
I agree.
Agreed?
Yep.
The 3s have it. Moving on. Control. Control on Shapeshifter is her only control. Okay. I guess she applies stun on her special that she'll never use. So we have... How good is Shapeshifter? She's at least a 2 because that's a good ability. I don't know if it impacts the game enough. So there are situations, right? Like if you can line it up and you can trigger, or if you can like kill Ghost Rider on Mystique's turn, that is fucking soul crushing, right?
Yeah.
It's like no deal with the devil. You're done. Shut up.
Yeah.
It's like not only did they not get to use Deal with the Devil, but they took it in their roster and selected it in their squad, and it was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So you watch an all you got turn, and you just go white. Yeah. You're like, oh no.
Yes.
Oh
yeah.
No.
So I think there's potential there, but yeah. Oh man, I'm fine with saying a 3. It's pretty niche, but. Damn, it is literally the best thing on her card.
Yep, it's super good.
It's just like hard to get this mediocre model to make use of it.
Yeah.
Something I do know that I forgot to bring up. Sorry, real quick. You can activate Mystique and then use Weapon X training on her turn to throw Sabretooth into people, and then they can't play Exceptional Healing. That shit is funny.
Wait, what?
During Mystique's turn, you use an active card like Weapon X training that just does damage to somebody.
Right.
It's still during her activation, so they can't respond.
Adorable.
Yeah, so that's something you should pay attention to.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like this special ability will get printed on another character and feel awesome. But on this character, it definitely does feel very underwhelming.
Honestly, if they just made her pistol auto rapid fire and I don't know, gave her 1 more hit point, maybe not even that. Definitely needs the auto rapid fire. She'd be a lot close. She'd feel a lot better. But when you walk up and miss that, man, it feels so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they should have just gave her rapid fire. That'd be fine.
Yeah, especially as a leader. Yeah,
it would put her in other lists. I mean, that's one where you can look at this model right now and go, "Where have I seen it aside from Brotherhood?" Never.
She's like a combination of Punisher and Agent Widow, which is funny because Agent Widow and Punisher feel like a combination of each other. Okay. 3, I'm going to say 3. We're all good with 3?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fine.
She's obviously a skirmisher. Overall rating for a 3-4-3-3 skirmisher named Mystique for 3 points. I don't know. I'm going to say 3, maybe a 4. She has a good leadership, but it just doesn't get used that much because she's in a fan favorite affiliation whose fan favorite is the other leader, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how do you play Brotherhood without playing Magneto? Like, it doesn't even make sense to my brain.
Yeah,
you're doing
but
it. You're doing it for like a kitschy reason.
There's something in my brain's heart that makes me want to believe that she is way better than all these dots have connected. Like, she's got she's got the juice, man. But like, how do you? I hate a 4. Like, I feel like she's a 5. I feel like she's higher than we're putting her. It's just we just haven't seen it, and she's also standing next to a god. Like, Magneto's ridiculous.
That's the other problem. Like literally, it's like, why would I ever play this leadership building? It's like, well, it is a really good leadership. It was like, yeah, but one of like the top 4 is in my affiliation, so fuck it.
I mean,
this isn't a Scott and Storm issue. Like, this is a totally different problem.
Yeah, I just think in some some of the crises, and some of the games, and some of the things you're doing, like, she is phenomenal. And she's so low points, and you should be able to go wide with her in different lists. Like, she reminds me kind of of Sam Spam. Like, if Magneto had come out, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, later on, Mystique came out, people would have been like, oh shit, we can now go low points with this faction too. But people don't.
I think that's a fallacy that going wide with her affiliation helps. It's actually, I think, the opposite.
Yeah.
Because it's a sump caught, like, it's a set quantity. Her ability says for each time you pick up the extracts, having more characters doesn't help you pick up extracts. Like, you're already going to get a set amount unless you have 2 characters, right? It's like, even if you're playing 5 extracts and go first, you only need 3 people. And it's actually better because the secure, control a secure objective ability is advantaged if you have a low model count, because that's the whole point of it, is that you can secure an objective and leave. And so you don't have to sacrifice a character on a back point. Going wide, I actually think, makes her leadership redundant.
Yep.
And so if you're playing an elitist form of Brotherhood, why are you using her leadership? Like, that's the part, again, I don't get. Like, even because her being in the list means that you're planning on destroying yet more terrain than you were already planning on destroying. And so it's like, she counters her own leadership. Because there's no way she saves as much power as Magneto generates. There's literally no way. And so it's just, does secure the back point equal out all the power you're missing out on? And I don't think it does. In an affiliation where they like their power.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I think she's a 3. I think I'm in the minority. I think most people think she's a 4 or 5, but I think she's a 3.
3 plus her tactics card.
I was going to say, Deception brings her to a 4, I think. It's too cool.
Yeah. I don't even like Deception. I agree it's a good card, but I don't like it. Single-use abilities like that are just, like, okay. Like, the fact that it's free is a big deal, but, like, getting to advance a character short is whatever. Like, if you can't build that into your squad already,
it's advance a character their speed.
Their speed, right? It's an actual advance, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I don't know. I can already do that basically with, like, mind controllers, and so, like, I don't find it that impressive. I would rather just, instead of taking Mystique, take somebody who moves people. That seems better.
Yeah, I think they get a higher number. They won't
it
be
happens more than once.
I don't think they'd score a 4. I think the characters like that usually score a 5.
When Enchantress came out, her stock just dropped, like, huge, because you don't even need it, and Enchantress is so goddamn good anyway. She didn't even
right.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, that's almost a whole different problem. All right, moving on to the dessert.
All right, take a deep breath, motherfuckers. It's time to read Magneto's card.
Everybody grab your asses.
Okay.
Grab your butts. Here we go.
Magneto is a 6-cost, size 2 character. He moves short. He has 6 health on the front side, 8 health on the back. He has the same stat line on the back of 3 physical, 3 energy, and 6 mystic. He has a physical attack called Reverse Polarity, range 3, 6 dice, gains damage for all the power dealt, and if he is within 2 when he does it of the character he's targeting, he can reroll any number of attack dice, and you can also push that character short in any direction. He also has Shrapnel Blast, which is an area 2, 6 dice for 5 power spender. When measuring the range and line of sight for his attack, you may choose the measured range line of sight from a metal construct within 3 of the character instead of from Magneto. After each attack is resolved, every character gains the stun special condition. He has From the Ruins, Brotherhood of Mutants leadership. When a terrain feature is destroyed, after the effect is resolved, choose a number of allied characters equal to or less the terrain feature's size. Each chosen character gains 1 power. The character may only gain 1 power as a result of leadership ability per turn. So this works on your turns and your opponent's turns. That's how much power it gains.
But not in the cleanup phase.
Not in the cleanup phase, yep. Fatal Attraction is a throw that costs X. He may spend 1 to 4 when he does it. Choose an interactive terrain feature within 3 of him with size equal to or less than the power spent and throw it long. Before using this superpower, the character must pay 1 for each time it's already been used this turn. So basically, after he uses it once, he must spend more to do it again by 1. He can do it multiple times as long as he has power. Force Projection is a 2-cost power where he immediately gets to use his Mystic Defense for a defend or dodge roll. Also, the character cannot be pushed or thrown as a result of the special rules of that attack or collision. And he has a passive called Master of Magnetism. During the power phase, if there are fewer than 2 metal construct features in play, he may place 1 within 3 inches of himself. It's a size 2 interactive terrain feature. Then, this character gains 1 power for each construct that is currently in play. And you can't put metal constructs on top of metal constructs. He also flies.
I don't know, guys. He's speed short. It's probably not worth it, right?
Yeah,
I mean, he's 6 points. Jesus Christ. That seems like a lot.
Yeah. That's the most expensive speed shorter, right? Like, don't even try it. Not worth it.
He's not.
Can I just say that is his one serious weakness? Actually, that's actually the one serious weakness. Is he actually is only speed short?
You're like pointing at the funny card dragster, like, but it has a governor. You're like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Or else it would literally launch itself into space.
Right. He's so insanely good, but that is one thing that makes him slight. Like, I can see at least how far he's going to go. At least I can see that.
Yeah.
He is not going to be able to touch me from across the board. He's going to have a difficult time doing that.
Don't forget, he can teleport.
Right. I'm saying his card. I'm saying his card, not all the other cards.
Gotcha.
He has access to.
Gotcha.
He's got Brothership.
So when he first came out, yeah, he's got the equivalent of Mothership. It's called Asteroid M.
Yeah.
Get on it.
Brothership, bitch.
But anyway, when he first came out, all I heard for like 3 weeks is like, but how are you going to deal with the fact that he's speed short? It's like, bitch, I play Venom. It's not hard.
Yeah.
You walk at people and kill them.
Yeah.
It's like a 2-step process. Like, it's not complicated. I would actually say him and Venom play surprisingly similar because they're both speed short, medium-based characters with range 3 attacks.
I think he does a lot better than Venom does. Because
I didn't say he didn't do it better. I'm saying it's similar.
yeah, well, one thing about Venom is
one of them just gets there and like turns people into goo, though.
Right. The problem with Venom is Venom needs power to actually get his thing going, and he might not get it.
I don't know that we need
always
to
have
compare
power.
the two,
Always.
Magneto does need power. In a fair argument, Magneto does need power. There are turns, kind of like MODOK, where if you roll really bad, it just doesn't happen. But he's so much more consistent than MODOK is.
Yeah. I would actually say I feel like he always has power. I've never been like he didn't have
annoying part of his whole kit every time. Brandon, can you guess?
Me, the most annoying part?
What's the most annoying
that you forget
part?
he has force projection?
Fucking yes! And it's not that
I
he
don't
rolls,
know how you
it's
forget
not,
every time.
It's
You're
not
like,
that he rolls a bunch of dice.
I'll just shoot it with Shuri. I'm like, force projection? He's like, what's that do? And I like explain it to him, and he's like, he has that? I'm like, yeah, what the fuck?
Every time. And then throw. No, and then throw. And then push.
Like, all right, well, I got the wild, so I throw you. And he's like, I'm like, what are you talking about?
I hate him. I hate him. I hate him. I hate him.
He's like, all right, I'll just walk here, and I'll just do the Hulk smash, and as long as I get the wild, I get to throw you off the point. I'm like, I force projected. You heard me say it. Here's the 2 power. Like, ugh. Anyway.
I hate him.
And I remember there's some games like then you'll take Valkyrie, who you for some reason put on a flank, and run her across the table trying to throw Magneto. And like she gets like halfway there, and I just kill her, and he's like, "Damn it!" Like it's like this is never gonna work, Jeremy.
I just put my meat suits on the table and they just run at him.
Yeah. Yeah, Magneto. This is like one of the fundamental like aspects of the game, much like MODOK. Like MODOK is probably better in a vacuum, but Magneto, like if you don't know what Magneto does and you've never played against Magneto, oh man, that is not gonna be a fun first game. It's literally just like an Omega beam that you're walking into.
I actually disagree. I think it's the it doesn't matter how many times you play against Magneto, you'll always hate it. You'll never have fun. To me, Magneto is the 6-point Shuri. He is that much of a negative play experience. I feel like I never get to see my plan happen because Magneto is on the board against me.
I feel like you just walked into the game like anyone who hasn't played against him yet. You walked into people that have already had 20 games with him, and so they've already figured out how to cancel, like how to fight against the counters. And so you're just trying to learn everything from scratch when your opponent is like 10 steps ahead of you. And so I think that's why he feels so oppressive. Because I watched when he first came out, I watched people just lose with him. Like they were like, "Well, I guess Thor just counters Magneto," and I'm like, "What?" Like that was a statement that was said to me by a person. I was like, "There's no way."
Well,
that's
I mean,
true.
there are idiots. I get that.
Well, I mean, but it's more than just putting him on the table and declaring attacks, right? You have to make good decisions. You have to set it up in advance because he is slow. You have to put him next to the right terrain pieces, while also not like being devoid of where the scenario bits are. You have to know how to play a low model count list so you don't lose on scenario before he can get you to a victory. Like there are parts of it, but when you walk into it and your opponent and like everyone you see playing him has already learned all those lessons, he feels like he has no weakness.
I see.
You know his counter? It's a 2-point model. It's goddamn Bob. Running Bob up to him and putting Bob at his feet is the most annoying thing ever.
It can be.
Here's Bob's corpse again. Damn it!
See, the problem that you ran into is that you didn't kill Bob before he got to you.
Yep. While he was running up.
Yeah. I didn't kill the death magnet before he landed at my feet.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's like Bob and Crossbones, because Crossbones will just take so long for Magneto to kill that it's not worth his time. And so at that point, he just walks past him. He's like, just walks over the top. He's like, this is the way to defeat him.
He's like swims, like a football move swim. Just whoop.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we need to get back on track, though. We're having fun talking about this. So he has the best basic attack in the game. He has a very good spender attack that is 99% of the time not worth using, but sometimes hilarious and good. Jeremy, do you remember the game where you were like, I'm never playing Magneto again?
Mm-hmm. I do.
You were playing Asgard versus, and I stunned 5 people with a shrapnel blast.
It was a good one.
It was a good one.
I did not see that coming.
You spent about 10 minutes staring at the board, and there was like, I'm done. There's no point playing this. Like, it was so funny. He was so mad. He's like, there's just no point. Like,
it was so stupid.
You backed everyone up and shook with the leadership. You're like, I'm going to spend the power to get rid of stun. I don't even know how that makes sense.
Oh, man. It was awful.
Oh, it was so good. Best throw of terrain in the game. He can't throw people, but his basic attack can move people, so he's not devoid of board manipulation.
Give him an offensive number. What's his number?
Hold on, I'm just running through it real quick. Oh. Calm down. Just settle down. Force projection is one of the best defensive abilities in the game. However, it is expensive and it has flaws. And then Master of Magnetism is incredible. People, I don't think the people that aren't good at playing Magneto yet don't properly use the placement of the magnetic constructs. The places you can put them to mess with stuff. For example, like you can place them next to an objective token to make it to where they have to move further to get to it, or place their model in a different way. You can place it to give your own models cover. If you're fighting against someone like Shuri who pushes you, you can place it behind your own models to prevent the pushes. There's a huge array of things you can use these for, and I see so many people just like, I place it in my deployment zone, and they walk away. I'm like, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. Anyway, offensive numbers. 10. It's just there's no argument. It's a 10. If you disagree with 10, you don't know how to play the game. Are we in agreement?
I was actually going to say
Does it go to
a
11?
9, and the
Mine
reason
goes to
why,
11.
the only reason why, is because in order to become a 10, he has to get within range 2 of his target, which isn't impossible, but he is slower. It's he really is a basic attack and throws, and the throws are great. But if you go, like you said, there are a couple characters in the game that just hard stop him because they do well against throws. So he has to kill them with just his basic, which is a great basic, but it's a physical attack that's only range 3, and he is slow. So he's not he's not tricky in his damage, and he doesn't do anything that ignores anything. So everybody in the game that has a high physical defense, which is most characters in the game, he is worse against them. So I think go ahead.
The number on the defense dice is not important. Like, just having 4 physical defense doesn't make you good versus Magneto. Just for clarification, it was the fact that those models had above average health and or damage reduction, and had high physical defense,
but
and had a low point cost. That was the 4-point combination,
right,
that made them good versus Magneto.
Right, but a lot of the characters in the game that have 4 physical defense also have DR and high health pool. So because those 3 things seem to happen a lot, and Magneto doesn't have anything else, he just has those things, he will kill so many things in the game. He is definitely a 9. I think he's a 9. I do not think he's a 10. I don't think he points and clicks.
What does
and
more
erases.
damage than Magneto?
Corvus Glaive. Corvus Glaive kills.
He does not.
Corvus Glaive 100%. With a single attack, no. Corvus Glaive does more damage, always.
Corvus Glaive will do more damage on a single attack.
Right. And that's what you need to do to remove a character from the game. To be able to overpower their dice no matter what they have. You have damage reduction 1, who gives a shit, you just took 12. You have a 4 defense dice, who gives a shit, you just took 12.
I understand what I think you're going for here. I just strongly disagree that Corvus does more damage than Magneto.
I think if you're talking about removing a character, like taking him out of the game, I think Magneto does
a great job. Talk about overall
job.
Offense.
Yes. Overall offense, I think Corvus Glaive does a 10. I think Magneto does a 9.
On Corvus Glaive's, on a perfect dice turn, Corvus Glaive could probably outdamage Magneto if Magneto had very low power. I don't even think there's really a comparison. Just the utility and output of the throws is equivalent to most Corvus Glaive's turns.
I think the selling... the thing that sells this beyond any reasonable argument is Magneto can kill you easily without making an attack. His superpowers kill you. He doesn't give a fuck. It doesn't matter.
He kills people from further away than Corvus does without spending actions.
But he has to spend
power.
Yeah, so you're going to spend what? 8 power, I guess, to do
Magneto can
5
kill
damage.
3 people in a turn fairly easily. Right?
With 1 tactics card, you can almost
So I'm not going to argue, the number of hits Corvus can generate on 1 attack exceeds Magneto's. I'm not going to argue that. That is factually true.
Mm-hmm.
Corvus can commonly get to 12 or 13 hits in an attack roll.
Right.
That is irrelevant because the 7 got them. Right? Who are you? If you're talking about killing Thanos, yeah, Corvus is probably better.
Mm-hmm.
But if you take away all the other stuff, if you're not playing Execute, you're not using Death Decree, you're just looking at the raw numbers on a 5-point Corvus. He's not doing that because he takes him so long to build up that much power and then dump it all into one person, and he has no action economy. I just don't see it. Yeah, if you get dazed by Magneto and then Corvus goes, he'll probably daze Magneto pretty easily. I see that. But if you don't have priority, you just will never activate. Magneto will just kill you full to dead, activate first, kill you again, and then kill somebody else. Is this making any sense? Does it feel like I'm just going crazy here?
I feel like I just feel like I feel like there are 2 characters in the top, right? 2 characters at the pinnacle of this.
Yeah,
and
I don't think anybody's going to argue these are the 2 best,
right.
Which I think alone means that they're both 10. So
I guess if that's how you want to say it, I suppose in my mind I wanted there to be a single character that was a 10 or like the absolute pinnacle, and if Corvus Glaive, if Magneto's a 10, then Corvus Glaive is a 9 in my personal opinion. Then
I don't think that's true at all. They do. It's like Valkyrie and Killmonger. It's like Killmonger will probably do more hits in a single attack than Valkyrie will, but I think Valkyrie is a better attacker overall because she has the potential to hurt more than one person in a turn. Like, that is a value amongst itself. The reason Killmonger fell off is not because he does less damage now than he did then. It's because he does all of his damage to one target, which is actually bad. Like, what does Corvus do versus Sam Spam? It's like, ha! Idiot! Luke Cage takes 17 hits! Like, well, you did nothing. Like, that was pointless. Right. And so that's why I think Corvus is in a box. And he's just so over the top at the one thing he does that he can't be anything but a 10. Like, he does too much damage to not be a 10. And he has the potential to move and flurry and all that stuff. But he's not a sustainable, like, attacker. Like, the damage Magneto will do in a game dwarfs Corvus Glaive. Because he's going to be damaging multiple people every turn.
I'll defer to you about that because you've played him a lot more, and that seems fine. Because I mean, like I said, every game I played him, felt like a horrible experience because I didn't get to see my models never get to activate. Not because he controlled them, just because they literally just took all their damage before they got to activate. So, I'm not going to argue with you to say that he's not fantastic. In my mind, I was thinking, like, what is an offensive 10? An offensive 10 is a person who could say, that thing dies. And Magneto cannot say that to Crossbones. And that makes me feel like he's not a 9.
Why can't he do that?
Oh, he can kill Crossbones.
What are you talking about? Yeah.
But you just got done saying that it's not worth his time. He wouldn't do it because it's too difficult.
No, yeah, I'm saying he just chooses to ignore Crossbones because he's better off killing other people. I'm not saying he can't. It's just not worth him spending an attack and 2 throws to get rid of him. And so because of that, he's very annoying to deal with because it's extremely inefficient.
Okay.
It's like trying to... What's a good example? It's like using Punisher to kill Crossbones. It's just a bad plan. Right? It's like you're better off using that ability elsewhere. It's just not going to do that much.
Giving Crossbones power too is a bad idea. Like you don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not because he's unable to kill Crossbones.
I mean, I think they're both a 10 for different reasons. When it comes to output, I think I agree that we want someone to be king of the mountain, but I just don't think there is one here for this particular thing, because then you can include a card like Execute. Well, that's pure damage. I mean, that doesn't matter what you do. You're getting damaged. So they're two different things.
Okay, give him a 10.
Yeah. All right. Defense.
A lot.
14 hit points, 336, ability to use the 6 against anything, including dodging, being practically immune to most throws.
Well, not actual throws. Not throws.
Right. He's hard to throw. He's immune to attacks that throw for the most part. As long as he has power, he's not going to get thrown.
Right.
He can be thrown by superpowers pretty easily. He can roll 6 defense dice against blocks, but really the part of defense that you have to worry about is his Tactics card, Magnetic Refraction. Giving him cover, meaning that he's blocking 1+ always, is very hard to get through. Because when you start doing, like, I'm going to roll 6 dice and have cover on top, you start getting ridiculous spikes pretty quickly, where you're blocking, like, 3 or 4 on most attacks.
Mm-hmm.
But that said, he's not invulnerable. He's just very hard to kill. And that's a Tactics card, which is only available once he's had a turn. So if you get priority from them, his survivability goes down a lot. So without the Tactics card...
Has anyone here ever seen Magneto die?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. No, my Magneto's died several times.
Really?
You killed him one time.
Oh, that's right, I did.
Yeah.
That's
You're just
right.
sad about it because it was hard.
No, I don't. I honestly, I remembered how it happened. Is you just blanked out. You just like straight up got nothing. Yeah.
Well, I forgot that you had Heroes for Hire.
That's right.
I totally forgot. I just totally spaced on it, and I attacked. I spent an attack not attacking the guy I needed to kill, and then when I only had one attack left, I went to kill Wolverine, and instead left him on 1 because you had Heroes for Hire, and I was fucked.
Yeah.
Like that was, I should have just attacked him both times.
Yeah. But it does take premium attackers like Wolverine full of power to knock him down.
Yeah, no, he's hard to get rid of. I'm trying to put a number, it's hard. 14 hit points is a lot. So let's say we would say he's a 3, but 14 hit points probably takes him up to a 4. Adding the 6 Mystic plus Force Projection at least makes him a 7, or not 7. Sorry, a 5. The Tactics card is probably it puts him to at least a 6. I don't know. I want to say 7. If we're counting the Tactics card, probably 7. I think probably 5 without the Tactics card. He does take damage, and he has to have power. So if you can catch him on low power points, you can do a lot of damage. And he can blank out. Like, even if he's doing Force Projection, you can still blank out. Like, defense dice are not consistent. He doesn't have damage reduction.
Blank out. Correct.
It feels like I see him block 5 more often than 0, though.
So survivability, I mean, he usually makes it late game. I mean, he's one of those.
I mean, if we're assuming you have Magnetic Refraction, I think he's a 7. His health pool's so deep, and cover is so good, and he's the lack of the additional damage from throwing him off of attacks adds up. And there's usually several times a game he's preventing damage from that.
Yeah, he's never getting that. You're never getting that and 1.
He always has the power to protect himself too. I mean, so many.
And even if you throw stuff into him, then there is a kind of a trick to it though. He's weak against weird stuff, like things that attack a lot. Like if he doesn't have Magnetic Refraction up, pistols are really bad for him because he can't afford to Force Project, and his defense dice aren't consistent enough to not take like 2 damage from every shot. And so that's kind of a weird thing. But that's why the problem, once the shield comes up, that goes away. He starts blocking too much.
I like a 7. It feels good to me.
Yeah.
7.
7 it is. Support, he's a good leader. Does he do anything else for support?
The Magnetic Refraction. We fucking talking about.
Oh shit, that's right.
What the fuck are you talking about?
5? Yeah, 5 at least then.
Yeah.
If we're counting for refraction, it's at least a 5. But it's like literally a required card.
Yeah.
It's the Brotherhood card.
And also, Magnetic Refraction on a couple characters in the game just puts them so consistent and over the top. On another Brotherhood character, who's not what we're talking about tonight, but Scarlet Witch is just so dumb. Like it's so dumb.
Even playing him out of Brotherhood, like in Cabal or something or whatever, and playing Magnetic Refraction is still amazing. Because there's always that one turn of the game they're coming for Magneto, and if you can just drop that immediately, oh man, it's so crushing.
Right.
It slows them down so much. I'm gonna say 5. Probably 3.5 for his leadership, and then on top of that, Magnetic Refraction's at least a 5.
Yeah. Agreed.
Jeremy?
Sounds good.
5 it is. Last one, we have Control. He has an AoE 2 that can target off of one of his metal constructs that stuns everybody. He can move people with his basic, and it's any direction, which is kind of silly. I think that's all his control, though.
He does have to be within 2, but that's all he has to be for that to happen.
For what?
For the push.
No, he pushes at range 3.
Oh. If the target
rerolls at range 2.
If it is not after the attack is resolved. Yeah. Oh, after it.
From
if
outside
it's not,
of 2, but within 3 is the push, and then rerolls inside 2.
Ah, interesting.
But you always have the option to just move and push somebody if it comes down to it.
What happens if their base is straddling the 2 and the 3? Which one do you take?
They are within 2.
Got it.
It's okay. There's actually not a big band at which he pushes, but it seems to happen all the fucking time. All right,
a 3?
Control. I want to say like a 3. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Moderate amount of pushing people, and probably never going to stun anybody though.
Mm-hmm.
But moving people's important. He is a blaster. Overall rating. Let's see a couple high ones. We gave Valkyrie an 8. We gave Corvus Glaive an 8. We gave MODOK a 9.
He's at least an 8. He's a premium 6. I mean, when it comes with a 6-point character, man, he is on the money.
Is he also a 9 with MODOK? I've always put him right up there. Like, because the difference between him and MODOK is it's a thin line. It's there. Like, there's a gap, but it's thin.
I think, okay, so Magneto kills you. MODOK wins the game because he can move everybody around to control the world and kill you. I don't think...
But we just talked about how Magneto can also move people.
He can.
And he can move people to the side of the board.
He can.
When you pick them up and place them on the side when they're dead.
Yeah, and I mean...
If he didn't have the push on his basic... Like, if his basic said push towards him, I'm with you. But he can straight control people if you just want to be annoying.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to fight for the spot better than MODOK. I don't... I would say they're the same. I mean, for a 6-point and a 5-point, they feel very similar, and they're very premium for their point cost. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have a problem with giving them the same. They could both be 9, and I'd be all right.
Yeah, I think I'd be okay with an 8 or a 9. I feel like he's a 9, but that's assuming he has magnetic refraction. Without magnetic refraction, I would definitely say 8. Because MODOK doesn't require a tactics card.
And MODOK plops in every single list just fine, whereas Magneto is a point hog. That's hard. That's hard to get him in there.
6 is harder. Yeah, I think from the perspective of that he's going to basically require the tactics card, I think I'm okay with an 8. Parker, what's your opinion?
I actually think going with the idea about points is that you go, okay, I need a blaster that can really eliminate people. You're like, well, I really want to spend 6 points on it. You're like, well, do you? Because we just got done talking about how for 5 points, Corvus Glaive does kill everybody. Maybe Scarlet Witch for 5 points does a similar job to what Magneto does. MODOK does maybe a better job than Scarlet Witch. So the reason why he's a super strong 8, like an 8.7 something or something nonsense, is because he's a fantastic leader for his own faction, and everybody in his faction loves the way he plays. Even the other leader loves him more than her leadership. So like, I think it's really very strong if you want to play Brotherhood. There's a reason why Brotherhood was super popular, and I think it's Magneto, right? Like that's fantastic.
Well, I think they're just fun to play, but yeah, they don't. Yeah. They have a weird like we play attrition mindset. It's kind of odd.
Yeah,
it's getting better with more models out now. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say he will be for a long time. I think the cornerstone upon which all other 6-pointers are measured. Like they'll have to do something. They can't make another 6-point blaster because it'll just be Magneto again. Like he's the perfect blaster for 6 points, I think. So they'll have to do they'll have to find some other space at 6 points for other models to occupy, because I think they hit the nail on the head for somebody who's just going to stand there and blow up your shit and not die in return.
If they were going to do another 6-point blaster, it should have been Cable. No, like let Cable teleport like range 3 around the board. And give him like more power and give him damage.
Yeah, give him super telekinesis or some shit, you know. Like,
they could have made him a 6-point blaster,
right?
And I think it could have been because he would be the opposite of Magneto. He'd be the long range mobile version.
Yeah,
and so, but he would do like less overall damage.
I think Hulkbuster is like the quasi control blaster combo. That's exactly that. It's very mobile, very very long range. Like I think Hulkbuster is actually the version of him that's slightly different but similar.
So that's actually the thing I was going to bring up is Magneto is the support blaster, which is really weird because he's the leader. He's got great tactics cards. He's got a little bit of board control, but really he like helps people, which is kind of odd. Like he can set people up by moving people into them, which like MODOK can do. But like I don't know if he does it as well. It's very weird.
But the reason why he's an 8 is he is overkill for the amount of points he is. If you're just trying to find a blaster that stands there and murders everything, like there's already that at 5 points.
6 points in a tactic slot, even out of Brotherhood, is a lot to cost. If he wasn't that expensive, I think he'd be up there with MODOK. Yeah, I think that's a fair point. Alrighty, well that's going to wrap up the ratings, and I think we're going to call it for tonight. Actually, Parker, why don't you go ahead and do your comic corner?
Okay.
I think we have time.
So, in honor of the X-Men that are coming out in, I don't know what, like 4 years from now was when Rogue and them will come out?
97,000 years.
97,000 years. I want to talk about one of my favorite X-Men comics called X-Men Second Coming. So it follows the House of M event. There are no more mutants, according to Scarlet Witch, and the mutant race is dying. They all take refuge on Alcatraz Island, of course they do, because everything happens on Alcatraz Island in the United States. And they basically hold up there. All of their biggest villains come back at the behest of Nimrod, one of the Sentinels that's merged himself with an anti-mutant militant named Bastion. And so Bastion/Nimrod is waging a multi-pronged war against them, and he's set up the perfect situation, the coup, the checkmate. And then a new mutant is born. Her name is Hope, and the X-Men run after her, Bastion runs after her, and eventually Cable gets a hold of her and brings her to the future, away from where Bastion can reach her, raises her, and then we have X-Men Second Coming. Hope and Cable finally come back, a fully adult Hope, without mutant powers that we can see yet, are now back, and the X-Men and Bastion go racing for her and Cable again, and the ensuing running battle across the United States, as Cable tries to get Hope across from Westchester, where he shows up thinking the X-Men are going to be, all the way over to San Francisco and Alcatraz Island, and then of course Bastion and all of his minions trying to close the net on the X-Men, and at the same time capture Hope and Cable. It's really good. It's a culmination of a lot of events, including the new X-Force series, where Cyclops commissioned Wolverine to do a Black Ops team to go murder everybody he could to think of before they attacked mutants. And of course, X-Force, rears its ugly head and goes apey all over some of Bastion's forces. And now the X-Men know that X-Force exists, and there's a drama revolving that. And then, of course, there's the big question of Hope and her powers. What is she exactly, and why is she the great messiah everybody's so excited about? Why does everyone want to kill her? What is she actually? And you get to see that by the climax, and it's interesting. So if you have, if you want to see just a really good action-packed, it reads like a 3-hour-long 5-act action movie. It's just so much. It's fun. It's fun read. Not a lot of exposition, not a lot of time to breathe. It's a lot of high intensity action, and every mutant, you just get every mutant that you can think of shows up at some point in a panel on here, and almost every mutant bad guy shows up at some point in the comic. It's fantastic. So if you like to see the culminating event of both Hope and X-Force and the X-Men in the modern era, it's really good read. X-Men Second Coming.
Cool. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for us today. Hopefully you had a good time. This has been Brandon.
And Dr. Mantis Toboggan, MD.
I was busy watching TikTok. Are we done?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
well, this is Jeremy
This
then.
is
It's like #, JBear 69 69 69. Signing off.
Peace.
And this has been Magneto is the Best.
So what are we going to call this thing?
I got it. Okay. Incredible, new, fantastic, astonishing, mighty, original, uncanny, sensational podcast.
I'm just going to put down infamous.
So either you guys have good internet tonight or you're way early because you're actually clapping pretty much with me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was not hearing a clap. Meaning I wasn't hearing the clap on the same clap as me.
Right.
I usually have porn running in the background, like a lot of it.
Yeah.
And I'm
Well,
always
I'm
always
watching
interested.
12 monitors behind my laptop in HD streaming of live cams, and then also I'm
Live
torrenting
cams.
I'm also torrenting about 8 gigs per minute.
Oh
'Cause,
my
I'm
god!
just trying to get. It's hard to keep up with how much they add.
I had a roommate back in the days before I left Missouri. So this was 15, 20 years ago, a long time. Internet first started kicking off real hard, right? And people had like quasi decent connections. It was the first time in history. And what was it, LimeWire at the time or something like that. And so my roommate would be upstairs playing
Jeremy, you're about to admit to a felony on a recorded line. Don't do it.
Yeah, okay. So Asheron's Call was playing, and he would always play Asheron's Call nonstop. That's all he did. He played it from sun up, sun down.
Is that one of those D&D like console games?
It was one of the first World of Warcraft type games. That's what it was.
Oh, okay.
So you had Dark Age of Camelot, Asheron's Call, EverQuest at the time.
I've heard Dark Age.
EverQuest.
Yeah,
so he was playing that all day. That's all he ever did. So I'd go to work and I'd start downloading a movie, like whatever it was at the time that was playing.
Because you want to watch it in 8 hours when you get home.
Yes, and it was
That's
new.
how it used to
was
work.
a new at the theater with like a cam held thing that was
it's like 480k. And
it was terrible. It was terrible.
It takes like 9 hours to download.
So I would come home and he'd be like, "Hey, you're not downloading anything, are you? Because my internet is horrible." I'm like, "No." And in the background, my computer would have like 4 movies downloaded at the same time. And eventually he would come down and unplug my computer from the internet when I was at work and shut everything off.
Yeah.
Oh, those were the days. It's terrible.
Oh boy.
Then Napster.
The thing
got
when
shut
I was
down.
in high
Fuck
school
Metallica.
is you would always find like the 3 computers in the computer lab that didn't have like the privacyware on it. And so you download LimeWire on those computers. And then you download all the shit on the school computers. And then you'd burn CDs from the school computers. It was great.
Yeah, when I was that was a man.
I don't know how I passed keyboarding class because I cannot remember a single day ever doing the assignment. Like, I never one time was like, no, I mean, I'm learning how to type, like typing in movie titles and shit. Like,
I remember
like
Go ahead.
Never once did we actually do what we were supposed to be doing in computer class.
I remember I was the only one in the room who did my class, the computer class. It wasn't a good class. They just gave you a big ass 3-ring binder at the beginning of the class for the whole semester, and you just like page 1, open Word, page 2, click File, save. Like you were just like, and so I just went through like every function in Word and just made Word docs for a semester, and I got really fucking good at Word. Really good at finding everything in Word. And I remember that was the only class in high school that I remember this translated directly into a skill I would use for the rest of my life. I was the only person in that fucking room who actually did it.
You're the only person in the fucking school that actually did the assignments, and it's the most important class you took.
Yeah.
You're like, you don't know how to narrow the margins? You fucking idiot.
Yeah.
I find it really interesting now. Like, I would take an Excel course right now.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
I would pay money to go take an Excel course.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember like the very first time I ever learned how to make tables, like tables and charts. I didn't learn to do it in Excel. I did learn in Word. I still, like, every single day I make tables in. Now I use Google, but Google Docs is based off of Word. It's just it's the same program. So and every time I do it, people are like, "Wow, you were so fast!" And like creating all these like graphic organizers for your students. Like, how do you do it so fast? I was like, because I got trained really well at how to decipher all this crap for half a year of my life, and it's the only thing I kept using every single day for the rest of my career. Like, it didn't matter what I was doing at school or now back to in-school teaching. It's crazy.
I was just using the fast connection to figure out how to level in EverQuest properly. That was my college intro to computers. Open up Hotmail and make your Hotmail account. I was like, okay.
My main email is still Hotmail.
Nice.
Yeah, I remember seeing your email at one point. It said Hotmail. I was like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah, I've got a friend that has a Yahoo account as well.
Well, the best part is like Hotmail doesn't exist anymore. They just transferred all of their accounts over to Outlook, Microsoft Outlook, and so I have to go to Outlook and then like put in my fucking Hotmail email address because they have my emails now.
When you log into your email, is it like that scene in Winter Soldier where the computer clicks on and the little man pops up?
Yeah, I hear tapes running.
Exactly.
Like, yeah. Arnim Zola comes and talks to you. Brandon, I see you have arrived.
Thank you for visiting.
They-
I have your information here.
I have.
My emails are like those newspaper prints. You have to like scroll physically to look
Oh my
at
I was
them.
gonna. I was gonna say they have little. They're printed off in those little
Fish.
little dots on the side.
Microfiche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh god.
I've made so many like new email addresses. I just always make them for something else other than myself. And like the podcast has a Google Mail, and I don't use Google Mail, so it's just saved on my phone. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So good news. The news cycle has broken.
Yep.
You got stuff to talk about.
We done got news and stuff.
Oh, also I've scheduled an event.
I
I saw that.
Done seed it.
How late? Or I guess I can pay more attention to the event. Are you only going to run it once, or are you going to run like multiple times throughout the day, like the?
I'll
one?
probably run it a couple times if we have enough people, because I imagine we'll have more than 4 people show up.
Okay. Because I'd really like to do this one. It looks super fun, but I don't know if
Yeah.
I'll be able to be there. I don't know when I'll be able to be there. We'll see.
Yeah,
Is this a new
I have kids.
Is this a new comic corner you put in here?
Yep.
Okay.
I've used a lot of cookies the past 2 weekends, so
Yeah.
I don't have really any left. It'll just be like, can I get free? We'll see. So I'm going to acknowledge the elephant in the room. That Chiefs game was the most fun I've ever had being miserable in my entire life.
Yeah.
Somebody,
Dude, it's rain game, man.
yeah, Sarah asked me, so how was it last night? I go, man, last night was like a nightmare. I don't remember anything after halftime, like that. All of halftime, I remember going into like the area behind the bleachers. I remember standing by a window for a little while. I remember standing by a bar for a little while. I blacked out twice standing by the bar just from like exhaustion. And so then I like went kind of behind the bar, and the nice lady who was working and they couldn't serve drinks, I asked her, I was like, is it okay if I sit here? And she's like, that's fine. And so I sat down like in the entrance, which she appreciated because then people wouldn't walk through the entrance to like crowd it. But I sat down and completely passed out, just huddled there in the cold and the wet. Like in my dreams, I dreamed people like going Bills, and like Chiefs going fuck you, like.
So
They were yelling at each other a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know why they got into it.
Yeah.
my favorite part was it's a 2-part. So it was when we were getting ready to leave to go to the game, me and Parker were making fun of your vehicle, talking about it being the Millennium Falcon and or
Yeah.
the Guardians of the Galaxy type
I'm
vehicle.
glad this came up because I wanted to talk about this.
And then the motherfucker, here we are, midnight, cold, beaten, done. And that fucking thing doesn't start. And then we just look at each other and we're like, yep. I wasn't even upset. I was just like,
I wasn't
well,
mad.
we are.
This is how that works.
We knew what we signed up for. Like, it's
Yeah.
just part of the adventure.
Yep, this makes sense. Life is already so fucking hard. It might as well be this too.
So
It was bad.
I think what happened on that was when my mirror got broken, I think it triggered the security feature. And so that's why it wouldn't start, because it put it in what's it called? It's like
Like you have to. Like,
it's not
shift it
no
out of-
trespass mode, but it's
Yeah.
like it's on lock basically. It's on no run mode because it thinks that it's being stolen. And so I had to reset the system.
Mhm.
And I think that's what it was. Because when I have the key, I can take it out of park and put it back in park. I think that's what did it, because it immediately started after that.
Right. No, it actually took almost no time. Oh, by the way, I was in my back seat playing MSF, and at some point I blacked out.
Yeah.
The moment I woke up was the moment the car like turned off in your driveway, and you said something like, I think you said something like, "We're here" or something like that, and I said something, I can't remember what it was, like.
No, we were a block from my house, and I said, "Hey, we're almost there," and you mumbled, and then I pulled into the driveway, and you got out.
Yeah.
You literally like blacked out mid sentence.
Yeah. I drove all the way. Oh, but here's another thing I found out. Curious thing about my car. Either it is so lightweight or the tires are so bad, I cannot go over 50 miles an hour in a rainstorm.
Oh my
Yeah,
god!
I hate after I hit black ice in the Pathfinder. I absolutely hate driving in the rain
Oh.
because every time I hit any kind of ripple or anything, I think I'm losing traction. It's the worst.
So my car has an it's it's meant to be a rally car, so they have some like rally shit in it still. And one of the rally things is like a very sensitive
traction control.
Yeah, traction control. Like, and it will warn me every time I lose traction in any tire, like instantly and stuff. And it's very sensitive. And so as soon as I hit 52 miles an hour, I would lose traction in the front tires. They would just start spinning, like getting nothing. And I was like, well, shit. And it would do it. And so I'd go down a hill and be like, okay, maybe I can get up to like 60. Here we go. And I would flatten out and instantly spin. And I was like, well, fuck, okay. And so I had to go all the way home. I've never seen that happen before in a vehicle where the front tires couldn't get any traction. I've been like in a truck before where the back tires felt like they weren't getting enough traction, but I've never been in a vehicle where the front tires weren't getting enough. I think it was just the wind and the amount of water sitting on the road. But what's weird is that it wasn't coming down. Like when it comes down in sheets, you don't want to go fast. Like when you can't see. Yeah. Like I can't. When I can't see the lines, I slow down to 40. It doesn't matter where the fuck I am. If I can't see what the fuck I'm doing. But it wasn't coming down so hard. There was just a ton of water sitting on the road.
Yeah.
And it was windy. And so
that probably is more of a tires problem than a car problem.
It's probably my tires are bald or balding.
It probably just was causing you to hydroplane super easy.
Yeah. But yeah, I couldn't do 50 miles an hour the whole way back. It was weird as shit. I've never been in a situation where I felt like I could go over 50 and I literally couldn't. My car just decided it couldn't. But yeah, that was that kept me on my toes though. Blessing in disguise. I didn't fall asleep at the wheel coming back.
Yeah. When you think you're about to die, it's hard to fall asleep.
Yeah. Holy shit. Just imagining everybody's yelling for the defense on third down. And all I can think is, it's so fucking cold and wet.
You were wearing a slicker.
I know.
How were you cold?
Know.
I was out there in a t-shirt.
I know.
And it was fucking blowing rain.
That's why I wasn't laughing because of me. I was laughing because of you yelling and bellowing at the defense. Like, how in the fuck is he not just miserable? You were in fucking flip-flops.
I did wear flip-flops. I had to wear shoes the next day because my flip-flops were still wet when I got up to go to work. They were like I went to step into my flip-flops and they squished. I was like, well, I guess I'm wearing shoes today. That's how raining it was.
Now here's the other thing. I actually didn't mind after halftime. I think I said this out loud. I actually didn't mind because the stands were almost empty. I love being I used to love University of Kansas football games my freshman year. I loved them because I was like the only person there. I loved everything was set up. The whole spectacle was there. Everybody did it like it was a full crowd. But I got to watch Big 12 football, functionally like it was in my living room. Nobody was around. But oh man, it was so the second half was kind of fun, even though the game was a tragedy for the Chiefs. It was still. That was the best, most miserable I think I've been in a long time.
God, they played terrible. They just played so fucking bad. I refuse to believe that the Bills are any good.
No, I think the Bills are a good team, but yeah, it's the 4 turnovers. Like if you flip it 4 turnovers like the other way, then the score's probably even worse for them. So
when you look at the stats for the game, well. What you're looking at
we actually dominated them the majority of the game in most stats.
Yeah.
And so it was just like, you have 4 turnovers in a rainstorm. That's going to happen.
If you would have, I thought about this actually. If you would have been, spent most of your time by the concession stand, if you're like a concession stand worker, and every time you 4 or 5 times during the game, you would have walked out to see what was doing in the game. You could have walked out and watched 5 minutes of the game 5 different times and been thinking, well, the Chiefs are going to dominate this. Like they were playing just fine. It's just and then if you went back around, you would, weird ass fumble where somebody tips a ball into their own hands. You're like, well, shit, I guess.
In the rain. Lineman deflects a pass back to himself in the rain and catches it. You're like, okay, well, first of all, that happens maybe 3 times a year
Right.
when it's not raining.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay, yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm. That's
The
crazy.
the fumble on a kickoff return is just ignorant. Like,
Yeah.
don't bring the ball out, especially if you don't think you fucking hang on to it. God, that's so annoying. And then like the 2 like tipped passes that were intercepted, it's like, okay, whatever, that's gonna happen. But it should only happen a couple times a year. It just happened to us like 6 times this season already.
But
It's whatever. A lot of people are super upset. I see what's like. I'm watching the games. I'm like, I don't think we're actually playing that terribly. It's just everything's going against us right now. And it's like, we just gotta get out of this bad trend. Just like it's like bad dice in a game. It's like, you just gotta get past it. Get back to playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of how I feel. So when everybody else is like losing their minds, I'm like, whatever.
mhm.
It's not like we can't gain yards. It's not like our defense is absolutely trash. It's like, you just keep giving them short fields. Yeah, they're going to look terrible. I was very tired on Monday, though. I definitely did not
Oh.
save anything.
Oh yeah.
I was so exhausted.
I purposely did not join in the yelling because I went. I've got to be able to do something tomorrow morning. I was already fading in and out. I actually fell asleep in the stands in the first quarter.
Of course you did, Parker. Of course you did.
Yeah.
And I was able to I come back really fast, but I relaxed for it was like a TV timeout or something, and that was all it took.
Parker, you remind me of like when me and Janet, when Return of the King came out, it was opening night. The showing was like the midnight showing of Return of the King. It was the first showing back in the day when they did that shit. I'm
Mhm.
sitting there jacked. Like, I'm like, this is the
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, like you could run through a brick wall.
Dude,
like, let's go.
1 hour in, I'm like fucking ready to stand up, and we're yelling, like everyone's laughing and cheering because it was like an opening movie. I look over and Janet is dead asleep. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I've been talking about this movie for 6 months. Yeah, like that's
And
Parker.
that was
I
the
asleep.
moment
What
you
happened?
knew.
I was asleep.
Yeah.
What
That was the
happened?
moment you knew it wasn't going to work out.
God. Yeah, exactly.
God, I remember when I saw Return of the King in theaters too. I think I was still in high school.
Yeah, I watched them.
Must be pretty close, probably.
Yeah,
I watched them
I
when
think
they
it
all
was.
came out, and then I watched them the second time when they all came out again.
Man,
I just remember when the Rohirrim comes over that hill.
Mm.
That's still like one of my favorite moments in all of movie history is when the Rohirrim come over that hill. Just
No,
like, that
Ghost Army.
Fucking awesome.
Ghost Army wins.
Ghost Army was
Really?
good,
You
Ghost
like
Army was
Ghost
the most
Army?
ignorant
but
fucking
no,
thing.
yeah, the horses coming down like when Rohan shows up, and
Uh-huh.
then it's like they're like he's getting the troops riled up, and you're like, oh okay, they got reinforcement. Let's see how this is gonna go. But then like when they actually start charging,
That's what I'm talking about.
oh man, like the music and
Yeah.
everything. Oh man, so good.
No.
The
Yeah, I
Ro-
mean,
the
that was-
Ro-
that was
the
legit.
Rohirrim music is the best music in that franchise. I love it so much.
I need to rewatch the Lord of the Rings movies. I haven't
The-
seen them in a while.
You
The
won't be-
first time
won't
is
be
way
sad.
better than I thought, and the second one is way longer than I thought, and the third one is fucking unbelievable. Like, I
Yeah.
can go without seeing the second one again. Like,
People complained about the Ghost Army like when I was in
because it
like,
was
school and
broken.
stuff.
Like, when in
Well,
gaming
yeah,
terms,
it's
broken.
like super overpowered. But no, they just complained about like it was like, dude, that's literally like how the books were, weren't they? Like, didn't that happen?
Yeah, it happened.
Yeah. So, like, I don't know what people expected. Yeah, there's not many like true fantasy books that or movies that actually hold up well. A lot of them are either like really slow or whatever. And admittedly, Lord of the Rings is not super fast paced, but compared to the
Well,
books, there are sprints.
I was gonna say, yeah. Compared to the books, it's like fucking near light speed. Because
Yeah.
those books, I loved those movies so much, and I was like, it's high fantasy. He rewrote the book on what a dwarf is and all this. I'm gonna go ahead and give the
Yeah.
books a try. And I gave it a yeoman's effort. I felt like I was building the fucking pyramids. Like I was one of those
Dude, it was hard.
one of those sad
Ugh.
Hebrew motherfuckers, just like trying to push that big fucking concrete block up that hill. Like,
Push the rock.
yeah, it's just
Oh,
I-
they're tough,
that's
man.
what
You have to enjoy song.
Can I have water?
They're
Water's
singing
on
again.
Thursdays. Go.
Ugh. Ugh.
Yeah, ever since the Battle of the Bastards in the
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, I have a hard time seeing any other like horse event. Like when it comes to horses charging anything, I'm like, that's the best ever. That whole
Really?
deal was insane.
Look at that. How about that?
That was my
I'm
fave.
surprised. Oh, I'm not taking down. I'm not.
I refuse
bad-mouthing
to accept anything Game of Thrones did was good.
There's some.
You were one of those that didn't even watch it, right?
I didn't watch.
Yeah,
I
know.
watched
I know.
5 minutes of it, and I was like, nope.
That
I also I knew too much about it. Like so much of it had been spoiled to me because I had friends that read the books, and this is like long before the show came out. It wasn't like they were just spoiling it to be dickheads or anything, but it's just like every time and they were like all fans of the series, but like talked about like its faults a lot, and so all I see when I watch Game of Thrones is the faults, and so I just can't get into it. I don't know.
It's fine.
So
I watched it twice.
It's better than most fantasy series, obviously.
Yeah. It was apparently pretty good.
I've read the first 4 books, and I really enjoyed them. They were very strong to very strong.
Did they end with the tree being the king? Because that seemed odd. Seemed odd.
The last book is, I think they're gonna be books, like not even one. Is I desperately hope it doesn't end in a similar way, or if it does, I hope that they earn more of it. Because the ending of the series was really bad because nothing got earned. It felt
because the
it
final
felt really
book's
bad.
not out yet, right?
Yeah, he didn't write
Well,
it.
the books,
But he's gonna come out with it, right?
yes. I mean, maybe, or he'll die because he's a huge
He's
old
got
man.
other projects.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
The book did. The books. I wish I could say the books do a really good job of fleshing out every character and every story, and the show doesn't. But they actually do. They complement each other very well. The people who made the show obviously cared a whole lot about the books. Obviously, it wasn't just a money grab or them trying to make a lot of money. They were trying to make something that was real to the books. Like Tyrion, like when you read, I after I watched the first season of Game of Thrones, I finished the 3rd book, and Tyrion, the character in the show, became Tyrion, the character in the book to me. Like when I was using my imagination, that's how good it was. I did not have as good of a visualization of Tyrion as they did for the show, and that's like a great compliment. They did a really good job of making things come to life. So my hope is that they didn't have a lot to go on. Of course, they didn't have a great source material for the final chapter, the final act of the story, and they didn't know how to make the characters earn what they got at the end, and that's why everything feels so weird and undeserved. And my hope is that they didn't have enough to create that same kind of very real flesh and feel that everything else did. I'm giving the books. I'm hoping that the books end in a different way. Honestly,
I feel like they just painted themselves into a corner and didn't have the time left that they needed to actually finish it, and so they just kind of like do the best you can, and so they didn't feel earned or like justified.
Well,
the way it ended.
to hear the story is HBO desperately wanted to continue to make more Game of Thrones because it was a huge fucking moneymaker, right? Like, why give that horse up? They desperately wanted more, but George R. Martin and the creative team was like, well, the story's going to end. Like, this is about where it ends, and so they used his notes, what he wanted to think about the ending. But of course, that's such a skeleton compared to the actual living ending of a book, and so. I think that's the problem is they decided to go ahead and end it where George R. Martin wanted to end it. I think they probably could have just kept going with the show and said fuck it, like Walking Dead has done. Just like started with a pretty good source material, and then now they just is a show. Who gives a shit about the comic book anymore? So that I think that's probably what they should have done, both for production value and marketing and HBO's future, and just the sake of the show. But
I think. I do not like Martin as a writer. Like, I think he's actually a fairly lazy formulaic writer. But I think he's playing the long game here. I think he literally, he was so tired of people saying the show's better than the books. And he told them, the rough frame of how he wanted to end it.
Uh-huh.
And now he's like, now that he's like, all right, let's see what they do with it, and whatever people say bad about it, I'll fix. And so he's using it as like a rough draft.
There you go.
Of how to finish it, and now he's going to eventually come out with the actual final book. Everybody's going to go, oh, it was Martin was the genius the whole time, and the show was actually just copying him as best they could.
Well, if you use your mind's eye and your imagination, and spoiler alert for anybody who loves Game of Thrones and hasn't seen the end of it,
Baby gets shot.
The main characters, like Khaleesi, the Daenerys Targaryen, she definitely is going to be the Anakin Skywalker of this show, right? Like, she's groomed for it the entire time. It's just in the show, the transition between Jedi and Sith in the show seems really awkward and unnecessary and bad. Like, it just seems like, why did you take this great character that everyone loved literally last week and make her the villain? I don't understand how you did that. Nobody believes you. And then the resolution of the character, 'cause she gets killed by the quote unquote hero, like, that doesn't, it feels empty and awful. You're like, why did you let this happen? This is so dumb. You literally had to make the entire reason for her death an exposition session with the fool Tyrion. Like, you had to make that the reason. You just had to talk to the audience for 10 fucking minutes just to try to convince everyone why she was going to die. That could have been done very slowly and methodically and thoroughly in a book, or in a ninth season of the show. You could have seen her slowly actually turn into the thing that all the characters have been trying to work against, the thing that she was like purporting to be against the whole time. So, like, breaking the wheel was a big theme of the show, and you're supposed to think that this breaks the wheel, but it doesn't, because she was supposed to break the wheel, and you're never given any reason to believe she wouldn't until all of a sudden Tyrion just says she's not, which is that's like a good example of something you can use your imagination for and be like, yeah, of course you could make this happen. She's set up for this. This is really, really good, convincing way to end her character. Like, this is a great idea. But, what a horrible mismanagement if you try to shove it into
they just skip the middle.
exposition.
They just cut straight to the end.
Yeah.
It's like they just forgot character building because they didn't have time.
Right.
Anyway, Game of Thrones sucks.
Right.
I still...
non sequitur. Back to Lord of the Rings. One last thing that's important to know. It's important to know about my dad. Number one, he doesn't listen to this podcast, so it's fine.
Okay.
Number two,
until he does,
so it's fine. No, this is just, it's just ridiculous. So he goes after here.
He'll miss it if he's not here right now. He won't ever hear it. It's definitely
it's fine. So everyone's talking about how good Lord of the Rings is at the time when it first comes out. First movie comes out, big deal, amazing, grandiose thing. Everybody has seen it. He's like, okay, 3-hour movie. I don't normally do this. Don't normally do fantasy, but I'm going to see it because it sounds okay. And he doesn't go to movies either, right? Just one of these guys. He goes and sees it. And he calls me, because he talks to me about once a week. He still does. And he's like, hey, you seen Lord of the Rings? I'm like, well, of course. I've seen it like 3 times. That kind of deal. It's okay. Didn't really like it. I was like, what are you talking about?
Why did you call me?
I was like, what are you talking about? You didn't like it. You're the only one on earth that didn't like it. Well, it was really good, right? Like everything, and I was with it. And I didn't realize it was 3 hours. And then all of a sudden, they just walk off and it ends. I'm like, yeah? What the hell kind of movie is that? I was like, are you being serious? He's like, yeah, that's so stupid. Like, I'm so mad now. I go, Dad.
You want to know something, Jeremy?
Did it happen to you?
I had the exact same reaction. I watched Lord of the Rings, the first one, for the first time in our living room. Someone had rented it, and we just watched it as a group. And we got to the end, and they just wander off, and I'm like, wait a second. Where are they going? He's like, it's over. And I was like, what do you mean it's over? Like, it's clearly not done. Like, did they forget a part of it? Like, is this like a flashback or something? He's like, no, the movie's over. I was so mad. I was
my
like,
God.
this is stupid.
Fucking
and then I found out, they're like, no, it's a trilogy. I'm like, oh.
Oh my God.
Well, let's watch the next one. And he's like, oh, well, we can't. It comes out like next
2
year.
years.
I was like, well, this is stupid.
He goes,
yeah, and then
oh my God, my dad
then
was
I
like,
saw the second one in theaters.
my dad was like, so it's another one? I'm like, Yeah, he's like, there better be. It was like, what the fuck, dude?
What if this one? What if they don't make it? It's like they literally already made it.
Yeah, it's like probably
Like,
already done. Like, you're fine.
Yeah.
Oh my
It's the
god.
best kept secret. There's
I
only
forgot
armed
all
guards
about
standing next to the film reel.
My brother and I have intense conversations about cinema, and we like to argue. Like we'll take opposing positions about something and argue. And we both went and saw The Bourne Supremacy. I think it was the second one. No, that was the last one. I can't remember.
The
what the second one was.
ultimatum, I think, was the last one.
Oh,
wasn't it?
maybe whatever it was. We saw the second Bourne movie, and I left the theater going, that was a shit movie. And Cameron loves the Bourne. He's read them all,
Yeah.
and so he immediately goes like, no sir, contrary point. And so we argued for like 2.5 hours, and I laid out all the reasons why I was sure it wasn't an excellent movie, and he was defending it in all these different ways, and he's like, the whole time we just can't seem to find a common ground. It's like we're talking about two entirely different fucking movies, and we're both getting kind of mad about it. We are about to come to blows with it, and I finally say like, I was like, you know that I have to be satisfied by the ending. This ending was so incredibly dissatisfying. I didn't feel like I got any sort of resolution. And he goes, Parker, you realize it's the second of 3 fucking movies. And I went, well, fuck no. Like I had no idea. Because the first movie
How would I know that?
Because the first movie was just
Yeah.
was not like Lord of the Rings. It has a beginning, middle, and end. You don't need to
Yeah.
make any more Bourne movies after the first Bourne movie.
Mhm.
But they made a second one, and so I went into it thinking it was going to be like that. Like they're going to see if they want to make more Bourne movies, see how much money this one makes. And no, it was 100% the second of 3 movies that were already books, and I had no fucking idea. And so I wasted like 3 years of my life and almost had a fist fight with my brother over something just like that. I was just like, this is
You argued for
what a
3 years.
3.
Wow.
Did I say
Good
years?
argument. You
Did I
said
say-
years.
Oh,
yeah.
hours.
I remember
3
the
hours.
first time I didn't like a movie, and I was confused because I was a kid. I was like 8 years old. I went to see the original Hulk movie
I would be confused about that movie too.
with Eric Bana,
Uh-huh.
and yeah. So we watched the movie, and I really enjoyed the combat scenes. And then the movie ended, and it's like 3 hours long too. Like it's so long. And so we leave the theater, and I'm like walking out, and I was with my friend and his dad, and because we were just hanging out that day. Actually, he's my cousin and his dad, and we're walking out. And I'm just like, was it not good? Like I was confused, like because I'd never seen a movie I didn't like before. Because I was a kid. Like it was amazing. Like there's giant monster smashing things. Like how could you not enjoy it? But like we walked out, and I was like, why do I feel sad? And his dad goes, that movie fucking sucks. He was so angry. He sat through that fucking movie. And from then on, I was like, wow, maybe movies aren't just automatically good. And then like I went on with my life. And now I actually have to think about it. It was pretty funny. He was so pissed.
God.
Yeah, I didn't know when I started to like be able to be critical of movies, but it wasn't until later in life. I remember like as a child, it's weird how much you can't be critical of movies. Like it doesn't even like I remember some of the shittiest movies.
You don't have the
And it
attention
doesn't
to
make
detail
sense.
yet.
Maybe it's just like flashing colors is all you need.
I think it's literally just attention to detail. Like you don't have enough social interaction experience to understand that like the movie is not like running smoothly. Like the acting isn't selling because you don't know what's selling. Like when you're a kid, they can tell you chairs are made of cheese. Like you'll fucking believe it. Like
Right.
you don't have the experience and the wisdom to know better, and so you don't have like the sense motive to understand that what they're feeding you is bullshit.
Yeah.
And so all acting is basically amazing at that point. And so if you assume perfect acting, even the dumbest stories can start to make sense and be authentic.
Mhm.
And so I think that's the problem, is you just don't have like the social attention to detail to pick up on like the miscues.
That makes sense. That's a really good interpretation of it.
Well, I mean, I think it's even simpler than that. Look at what passed as cartoons back in the day. You ever watch Thundercats again? You ever went into that?
No.
It is bad, real bad.
I watched Looney Tunes.
Looney Tunes
That's
still
just
holds
like
up.
people
That's
hitting
fine.
each other with hammers.
Yeah.
Like, that's fine.
Oh no.
Like everybody understands Looney Tunes.
Well, also Looney Tunes was like some of that stuff was they're attempting high art. Like some of those episodes that are just featuring classical music, and it's just classical music animated. There's nothing else.
Mhm.
Those are some of those are fantastic. Like as adults, I
Yeah.
look at them, I'm just like, that's great.
And some of them were not made for children at all. Like
No.
some of that stuff's like really inappropriate. But
Yeah.
the art at least holds up, and like the voices hold up. Like, but some of those fucking cartoons were garbage made to sell toys. And
Yeah.
I was like, man, I remember really liking Thundercats. Like that guy was big and strong, and his muscles looked cool.
Mhm.
Oh no, I was mistaken.
Mhm.
The Transformers. I remember watching that Transformers movie again, and I remember the first time just being in awe. I loved everything about that.
Mhm.
I had some of those Transformers from that movie. I knew every line from that movie. I watched it again as an adult, and I still remembered every line. And you got the touch, like just like
Yep.
yes. And I was thinking I'm gonna love this. Like it's gonna be so nostalgic. It's just gonna wash over me like a warm blanket. And it was not. It was like old sewage. It was
Did not age well.
no. And
You're talking about the 1986 one, right?
the one with that introduces Galvatron and Unicron and all that. And
That's the first movie I ever watched in the house I moved into. Like the first time I ever watched something on like cable I paid for. The first I turned on my satellite, and as soon as I pulled it up, it was Transformers was starting. I was like, well, fuck yeah, we're watching this, and I just like didn't change the channel. This is like awesome. All right, I think we're about ready to get started.
Finally got all the Lord of the Rings out. We're good.
Yeah. Apparently I've been very distracted, so I did not actually look up a new dad joke.
Man, I've heard so many lately too, and I don't know why.
Oh. Well, on the plus side, I saved one from last week. So,
Oh, good.
Why did the Black Widow wear a disguise? Because she's a spider.
Ooh,
Get it? Because she's like a spy
wow.
and a spider at the same time.
Mortal Kombat.
You gotta wear a disguise.
That was way better.
Jeremy, you're never gonna live down the fact that you didn't see that one coming.
No, it was good. It was great.
That was a good one.
I was trying to actually put together why that culture would have anything to do with Mortal Kombat. And I'm just like, well, I don't know.
Really? Is it like it's like the kind of instruments they use or something? Like, oh no.
I'm like Tobias Boone. Is that the Scandinavian name? Maybe it is. How did I not know?
All right. Here we go. Let me
Let's say it's already
get a
11 o'clock.
timestamp
We get to
here.
go. We need to go.
Nope. Jeremy was late this time, so we get to go as late as we want.
Though
Lord.
that's not true.
That is untrue, my friends.
Regrets. What? I was about to start. You just messed up my timestamp.
Oh, sorry. I just the best meme. It says it's a point in Captain America Civil War where before when it was Tony, Cap, and Bucky all going through the station before they find Zemo and everything blows up, and Cap says, "Go ahead, Bucky, ask him." And Tony says, "Ask me what?" And Bucky said, "Where's the flying car your dad promised us?" That's such a weird, dumb scene in that first Captain America movie. Shit, he murdered his dad. That's the funny part.
Well, it was just vengeance for the no flying car.
Yeah. Oh.
All right, can we start now? Do you want to read any more of those?
Nope, I'm good.
Around, never gonna get. Oh, okay.
Best at hurting my soul. I just don't want to play.
I'm really tempted to go back to Brotherhood now.
I know
I'm
you
very
are.
excited.
I know you are.
You're like, he knew where this was going.
Yeah.
You're like Sabretooth, and yeah, that's pretty
Well,
good.
I'm gonna play some more Spider Foes,
This
and then
this,
I'm gonna.
this
I'm
game
gonna go
was
back
fun
to
while it lasted.
burn all my stuff.
Actually, I am actually really excited to play Hulkbuster versus Magneto because his actual ability might actually make Magneto just a teensy bit
That's true.
nervous.
That would be a reasonable thing to do.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
I am still honestly, there's so many cool things in this game. Like we know about what's going to come out in this game for 4 years, but the thing I am most excited about still is Hulkbuster. Oh man, I want to.
It actually is like the biggest farce ever I can imagine. Is like, how do you beat Magneto? Surround yourself with like 4 feet of metal. Like, that's the only way you can defeat Magneto. Everyone, cover yourselves in armor. Like, you gotta protect yourself from the magnets. You're like,
Yeah.
What the fuck are they doing?
Uh,
They all show up wearing like tin cans and shit. You're like, what is the matter? with
That's actually one of my. I think I told you about this. Is they in A versus X, Magneto is like whooping ass on the beach, and all of a sudden somebody taps him on the shoulder, and he looks behind him and he goes, "Oh, you!" And and then it shows him like doing magnetic shit and throwing it at Iron Man, and it says, a master of magnetism versus a man of metal. If you thought this was a one-sided fight, then you don't know Tony Stark very well. And then then it's all about like Tony Stark manipulating electromagnetics against Magneto and like how they play against each other. It's good. It's really good.
Oh boy. All right, well, we have plenty recorded, so let's go ahead and wrap this up.
Yeah.